15 beers on a Tuesday afternoon. 15 beers on a Tuesday afternoon. Fuck yeah!
What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 14 of 15 Beers on a Tuesday afternoon. Last week we had some audio problems, or 2 weeks ago, now that we're doing it every other week. So we didn't go live, so this is the first live stream in a while. Hope you guys enjoy it. We got some rain out. I was worried. It was raining pretty hard this morning. I was worried that the power was going to go out and was going to fuck us over again, but it seems to have subsided a little bit. What do we got here? So we got some fun guests today. We don't necessarily have a theme, a bunch of musicians that I'm friends with. But yeah. So we're going to get today started with Paul Heath from Dead Unicorn. For the live stream, I was just playing a few songs from them just now. The last song was called We're Fucked, which might be the most appropriate song to start one of these podcasts so far. So we'll give Paul Heath a call.
Howdy.
Yo, what's up, Paul Heath?
Not much. How we doing, Kevin Sharp?
Pretty good. How are you?
It's awesome.
Nice.
About to crack a beer.
Nice. A little early, but
All right.
when this first started, I thought that if I'm gonna descend into madness, I might as well chronicle it. But then everything kind of leveled out, and now I just get really drunk every other Tuesday. Not that that's that weird, but how are you doing?
I am enjoying life, I guess.
Nice. Yeah. You're one of the few. I've seen you in driving past a lot of times, but I don't think I've seen you in person. No, when you picked up your paintings from the Anchor, I've seen you in person.
Yeah, that one time. Yeah, it's been a long time, dude.
Yeah. How has this experience been treated? I mean, I guess it's a broad question because it's been such a long time. I know you guys were doing a lot of live streams at the beginning. Are you still doing those?
We have dialed back on those. Yeah. Mostly because we are trying to take this opportunity to mix the new record and do the vocals on it.
Okay.
Rather than, it wasn't that the live streaming was bad.
Yeah.
But with all this COVID business going on, I'm sorry, my phone keeps doing this message stuff.
Gotcha.
Just with all the COVID stuff, it's hard to get together and rehearse.
Yeah.
It's, it's like both Zach and I have a kid, and so half our time are spent engaging our children with daytime activities, so that takes away from that. And then there's the rest of it's just it's just too much day drinking.
How has that been going? What is the experience of trying to explain this to a kid, how where?
Well, being Felix is a only child, I think I have a little bit of an advantage. He's pretty good at keeping himself entertained.
Gotcha.
But the drawback is he is a deep fountain of energy.
Yeah.
that just flows all day long. And he I bring him down into the gallery and let him do laps.
Okay.
To burn. It's kind of funny.
Is it while you're painting, or are you just?
No, I paint up in the house. I
gotcha.
I would love to keep it separated like that, but when it comes to painting, it just is wherever I am. So
yeah, gotcha.
Inevitably, my living situation becomes my studio.
Isn't that? Didn't you do something last year where your mission was to do a certain amount of paintings over the course of a year?
Yeah, I actually achieved it, and I probably exceeded it. But my goal was to do initially 52 paintings. So that is, a painting a week. Yeah, exactly. And then I tallied up what I had done in 2018, and it was 40 something. And I'm like, well, that's not much of a big deal. That's not a difference. So I whoever I was talking to in that moment just was like, well, then double it. And I was just like,
Jesus.
shit.
Yeah.
And so I went for 104, and I did it. I definitely
Wow.
did it. Yeah, it was hard to catalog it all.
Yeah, I bet.
It was like, because I was just focusing on painting most of the time, and then right before the first art show I had with it, I was like, holy shit, like I gotta now even like title some of this stuff.
Yeah.
So that was it was an undertaking, but definitely gratifying.
That's
And
just even spatially, that's just a lot of paintings.
oh, totally. The gallery's completely full with my work right now. It's and I had 3 separate solo shows at one point in 2019.
Oh, okay.
So like that's, which was the sum total of about 80 something paintings. And then I did a whole bunch of commissions also that just went straight to the client. So
Yeah.
that took up the difference, not to mention the few paintings that didn't make the cut.
Yeah,
but
okay.
paintings just nonetheless.
So it's kind of interesting for you to like take on a challenge like that the year before, and then have this year be a year that I'm guessing is kind of good for an artist because you have maybe a little bit more free time to work on your stuff, right?
Yeah, I'm actually like not even really skipping a beat. It's like I typically work in the PM or the late night.
Yeah.
So I oh my goodness, get that away. Sorry about that. So I don't know. I would paint after work and paint after Felix goes to bed, no matter what, the previous year. So it's more that I guess like just the daytime hours are a little bit more available.
Yeah.
But that ends up being spent with the kid or sleeping when he's not around.
So it's basically you're on a similar routine, just
it's
without
just
the
business
work.
as usual.
Yeah, with it
exactly
more watching the kid, less of the work. Gotcha.
Yeah, and even though like the art is discipline / work, not having to have a job that I punch in on and stuff, and do 20 like part-time hours, but still like 20 to 30 hours a week.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like without having that, this is like the longest vacation I've ever had. It's amazing.
Nice. And so do you have like a certain like you're going to work from this hour to this hour, or it's just kind of nighttime you work and you go as whatever you're feeling?
Well, last year being I had the goal, I would basically paint from like 11 p.m. till 4 a.m.
Okay.
If Felix was around, I'd end around 2 or 3 because I'd have to get up to get him to school.
Yeah.
And then I'd go back to sleep after. But on work nights, or days I didn't have them, I could very well be painting till 6 in the morning.
Gotcha.
Because sometimes I just get locked up, man. It's just like I'm in the zone.
Yeah.
It's just like it's hard to stop and then return and get back in that same headspace,
Yeah.
So also when it comes to trying to do 2 paintings a week, it's best to try to finish.
Yeah. No, like starting one and then getting halfway done and go on to the next one you finish and then move on. Is that?
Yeah. Well, I typically have I have one focus piece always, but I have like 5 to 6 pieces on the floor, variably around.
Yeah.
A lot of the times just to catch any of the like off spray or anything crazy that comes off of the main painting.
Yeah.
But recently I've been doing this geometric work, which is not splatter work or very active. So it's like I'm doing all these other side abstract pieces to keep me from going insane from doing this very calculated work.
I took one from Instagram that I have, I have up on the screen now. I think it's kind of like 4 flower shapes with a square and then some shapes on the inside. Nice.
Yeah, that's the one I've been working on for the past at least 2 months.
Gotcha.
So, and this is the crazy aspect of having had the experience I had last year, is for the first time in now I can call my art career, I have something to reflect, to gauge value. So thereby, like some of the larger paintings I did last year, usually like in the lower 4 digits, like 1,200 on average.
Gotcha.
This one, and those would be done in like 4 days.
Yeah.
So if in theory I could have done 4 of those in a month I could have thereby 8 of that scale of painting right now.
Gotcha.
In the time I've done this. So if that's the case, then it's gotta be.
See, I got you. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That makes
so
sense.
this might very well be my first 5-digit piece.
All right.
And that's scary to me. I don't know how. I'm anticipating having this for a long time.
Well, it's one of those things where I think you know how much time do you spend like becoming the artist that you could be, and how much time do you spend becoming marketable as the artist that you could, or people think that you are. It's like
right.
Like how much time do you spend sending out press releases about your band, or how much time do you spend writing songs? It's a hard.
Yeah, that's like no one really thinks about that when you go into pricing the value of your T-shirt. Let's say like the design of your band's T-shirt took the artist like 2 weeks. That's never really reflected. That's usually either like their pleasure to help out the band they're a fan of,
absolutely.
or it's a commission piece where they're getting a flat rate. It's like, and in that case, if you're a band and paying the artist outright, then it's just taken out of your margin of what is just promotional material anyway.
Yeah. And that's always interesting. Like, how long do you keep the shirt around? Like, I've never kept track of like, oh, the money we invested, that we paid the artist, and then all the screen cross or whatever. This is how many, and then we can move on to the next thing. It's always just
it's so hard to keep.
Yeah,
it's such a long-term thing unless you sell out at the launch, and it's like that goes for art T-shirts as well. But like when I was in the Kiss Ups. Like, man, we funded our first record just on iron-on shirts at first.
Oh, wow.
It was crazy.
Nice.
Like, I was buying these $5 T-shirts, and I had an iron-on press and a inkjet printer that worked with iron-ons. And I would just sell them for 10, and just basically, almost double my money.
Yeah.
And we just I kept bankrolling it in completely. And it was just like we had a down payment for studio time before we knew it. It was great.
Well, that must be nice being an artist and a musician. You kind of design all that stuff yourself, so you don't have to outsource, right?
Yeah, typically that's what it's either typically like me or a bandmate that does the designs.
Yeah.
For Dead Unicorn, I typically do it all, but Zach has designed a few shirts as well.
Okay.
And actually, it's like that's another aspect I need to start focusing on is getting the album cover work started for this new one, which is water themed, flooding themed, global flooding. So
your band Dead Unicorn,
correct.
Every album has an apocalypse, end of the world theme.
Correct.
So 2013 was pandemic, right?
Yep. 13 was pandemic. 17 was aliens.
Okay.
Prior to pandemic, we did global thermonuclear war.
Okay.
And the first one we did was Yellowstone supervolcano.
Gotcha.
But yeah, pandemic has been a hot item lately.
Yeah. So are you, of the ones that you'd released before, are you happiest that it's pandemic that we're living through now, or would you rather had aliens? Or
dude, I just remember the rehearsal that we had just after they closed the schools, and we were just like, holy shit, this is like we're living out our album.
Yeah.
This is like a drill in the scope of like how we see the things going down in the way we describe it on the album. Really though, because there's no martial law yet. People aren't looting from each other.
Yeah.
There's no ban on travel. As soon as you can't drive anywhere and grocery stores run out, that's when it really gets to that apocalypse level.
Yeah.
Not to mention the pandemic itself,
Yeah.
But whatever pandemic that one might be.
Gotcha. So the next one's a flood situation. Like, do you have a reason the flood happes? Is it like global warming kind of?
It's a global warming ultimately, like as a reasoning. But like a lot of tsunamis and extreme weather is definitely part of the scope.
Yeah.
But it's an opportunity to, in like more of a fantastical or fictional kind of way, like a water world pirate kind of.
Yeah.
Like just like even if humanity survives like global flooding, there's still going to be some that manage to keep going, and it's just going to be like pirates that it's going to be like Waterworld.
So this is the first. These will be the first Dead Unicorn sea shanties that we hear.
Actually, it's kind of yeah. There's
that's
as close as we'll ever get, at least. Our one song, Shark Food, is basically it's imagining yourself on the last pleasure cruise.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying? Like the people that got. Yeah, like you went out right before it all happened, and now you went out on
back to you're just
so you're just drinking yourself away.
All right.
And Zach has an excellent line where he says, "Going overboard is all that we ever do."
That's great. Nice.
Because we always embrace the idea of like living in the moment and let's party. Because man, if the world ends tomorrow, why aren't you doing what makes you happy?
Absolutely. There was a time, I think it was like early May or something like that, where there were a few news articles about Yellowstone like bubbling up or something like that.
Yeah.
After the pandemic, it was like two at once, and then everyone's talking about the aliens at the same time.
Yeah,
So
it's all around, man.
There was a while where you guys were a little bit Nostradamus-y, with that stuff.
I still I'm excited to finally see some of this UFO stuff that they're talking about.
Yeah.
Like
What is the deal with that? They're like
I think all they did was a very vague confirmation from the military, I believe.
Okay.
That was just like, yeah, they called it something else. It wasn't UFO. It was like there are other
like
flying things,
non terrestrial flying objects or something like that.
Yeah, something to that.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's what they just rebranded it so it didn't seem threatening and just said, yeah, that's all. Like nothing else. Like
right.
like and they're friendly and we've contacted them and we understand nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
Just a confirmation that yes, the vehicles exist.
I mean, it would be weird as well though. Like how like we send all these probes to Mars and shit.
Yeah.
Like maybe the first thing's not going to be some like way advanced civilization. It'll be some kind of advanced civilization, but that still can't get here. That's just sending like
Yeah, like a message in a bottle.
Exactly. Yeah, that kind of thing.
That's a good summation. I'd imagine that's probably what they have is a bunch of those equivocal like message in a bottles.
Yeah. Yeah, possibly. Like,
one that perhaps says we're coming next.
It's interesting to think about it. Like, imagine if we like found, we're able to get to Mars and there was something there. Like, we would definitely take advantage of it to the best of our abilities.
Oh, absolutely.
Like we have colonized anything that was possible to be colonized. So.
Yeah, like we did it here on land. Why wouldn't we do it out there?
So
Totally.
I think ideally you're just hoping on like a more benevolent kind of alien. If there is some like more advanced species, just hope that they're more benevolent than us.
Well, we definitely covered that in a song called Mothership.
Okay.
And it's like
that's from what was the Alien album called?
Just aliens. We really couldn't come up with a better idea. It's just because there's so many. It's such a vast concept. Like what?
Yeah.
It's just that but just the idea that like there's got to be some benevolent forces out there. Just as much as there's non or invasive or whatever. But I just kind of can imagine like a Hitchhiker's Guide solution to some of humanity as well. Like just someone scoops us up before the international intergalactic space highway goes, whatever. Which is always so fun when I think about that Douglas Adams story. It really tickles my imagination and fancy.
Well, that's kind of the nice thing, like of the apocalypse scenarios. Your water one is like almost like you wipe out humanity, but then there's still a thriving. The Earth can live on. It'd be like the dinosaurs kind of wiped out by the tsunamis rather than the asteroid.
I don't think that in any of our scenarios that Earth doesn't go on.
Yeah, well, but in like the nuclear war one.
Yeah, that's the only one that really is true. but that like even that like, I mean, we could probably put a big dent on the surface, another crater, if you will. But really, what's going to kill us after that is the nuclear fallout, the nuclear winter that happens after the fact. Like, because if you have enough strikes around the world, then it's just clouded, and it's got to stay that way for years and maybe decades.
That's kind of what the super volcano would do as well, right? There would be
absolutely,
ash, so it would be like a kind of immediate ice age effect almost, right?
Absolutely, yeah. And it's funny because there's a theory that the Earth was going into a hot spell that perhaps would have like evaporated a lot of the water on Earth.
Okay.
But that meteor hit us into the impact of the meteor created that false ice age and kept us from ever having it.
Okay. Is that like dinosaur stuff? Is that what you're talking about?
Like, well, just like that it probably saved more of the life on the Earth than the getting too hot, maybe potentially. Or at least that's what I got from it. Either way,
that's interesting to think about. Like, 'cause if it does get too hot for plants, how do plants grow back? Or how does that grow back once it's too hot for? Or is it ever too hot for, I don't know.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Like, we would find out, I guess.
Well, I think we would be gone long before, there'd be like something that could live on longer than us.
Yeah. It seems like, life continues on no matter what.
Yeah.
And that's also what's interesting about aliens. Like, just the idea of life is, we have our three-dimensional and physical idea of what that means, cognitive thought or breathing or growing and cells and such like that.
Absolutely.
But like there might be a version of life we can't even fathom.
That's kind of interesting to think about, that we are the plants that don't understand what the fuck's going on around us,
Right.
Yeah.
Or don't even notice that the rocks are talking. Anyway, I don't know.
There you go. Some like mushroom shit, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So how have you guys been like working? Did you have a lot of these songs written before this happened?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we did. We actually were planning on having this out by this time.
Okay.
We were aiming for May. We always aim for. We try to make deadlines to force us to finish.
Yeah, that's right.
Which is a good way to operate. But we just derailed a lot. Just really, like, COVID affected the studio that we were working in.
Where do you guys record?
We recorded at Nada.
Okay, yeah, John.
And John Niclario's grandfather passed due to COVID.
Yeah.
So it's just not that the studio isn't working, but it was around when we were trying to get all that stuff going, and it just kind of derailed us a little bit. But it's fine because now we're focusing. We're still doing vocals, like we tracked all the instrumental.
Gotcha.
But we're just taking it at a more comfortable pace, and it's home studio style for the vocals, so it's way more comfortable and easier to get the take.
Yeah.
And this way, it's like I back in the day, I'm sure you can relate to this, like going to the studio thinking you were going to record everything in a day.
Mm-hmm.
And just or even possibly all your vocals in a day.
Yeah.
And that's just freaking insane, man. It's just like especially if you're yelling and screaming, like I could do a set like that, but 20 takes on a song, like at worst case scenario, or exactly. So or enunciating all the words right, or we're kind of perfectionists, so you could be shot after song one.
Especially and John Clario will have no reservations about telling you that.
Oh yeah, but that's what. And once again, that's why we're doing the vocals at home. It's way more easy. It's way easier to deal with Zach's criticisms or him dealing with mine than like a producer or an engineer. It's easier to get the headset like I said, we have a pirate-esque song, a pirate theme song, and there are certain vocal takes I had to get my pirate on. I had to get that and to get the just make it sound right, and we got, and because we're friends and bandmates and was so comfortable doing this around each other, it was a lot easier to get that vibe going, that feel to, because I tense up if I'm in the studio and doing vocals. I try to loosen up, but inevitably I feel the pressure.
So are you guys just recording the whole album yourself now?
No, just the vocals.
Just
the
okay,
vocals.
Gotcha.
And then we'll send it back to Sean Paul, Pillsworth to mix, and then John Niclario probably will master it again.
Gotcha.
He's
Yeah,
done.
right on. Yeah.
He's done our past 3 albums, so we
Yeah.
most likely will.
So your first few albums, you started in the firehouse that he was working in Newburgh, right?
Yeah. We went there to record a couple things, but mostly, we never recorded in that space. He just did all the mastering there.
Okay.
But we would go there to listen over what he did and a couple times or check in. So, like, I definitely was at that spot, and I didn't even know he had moved until we were on our way to the session.
Oh, yeah. Zach was driving, I'm guessing. Yeah, so.
Exactly. I was just like, wait, what?
We the first show I ever played was the Plattekill Summer Metal Meltdown 1992. I had just graduated from high school. It was me. I played drums. Carl Carlu from Pain Mass played bass.
Okay.
And there were two other guys in the band. We were fucking terrible, you know. We got like dropped off there at like 4 a.m. the day, before, and just like slept there with our equipment, like fucking, and whatever. We were terrible. It was the first show I ever played. I was nervous, even though there's like literally 3 people there at that point. We played almost before the doors were open,
Yep.
But then the band after us played, and they covered Territorial Pissing by Nirvana and Where Eagles Dare by the Misfits. And we were like, holy shit, who is this, like, prog metal band? How are these guys so good? And John Niclario was a bass player of that band. And we recorded both Red Necromancer albums at Nada. The second one, though, while we were there, he sent me video footage of that fucking show. Like, how the fuck do you have video footage of us playing in 1992? Like, he is such a meticulous man. Obviously he has that. He's like, cyborg motherfucker. Like,
that's great.
Yeah. He's a funny one. I remember us discussing the Joey's Throwing Elbows album, and we were going to either record with him. He was still in his mom's basement at that point, I think. But we decided to go with this like country dude in Red Hook that we paid like 5 times as much as we would have paid, and the drums sound like garbage cans. And I'm like, fucking, we could have done it with fucking
Niclario.
Yep. It would have been amazing. Son of a bitch.
Yep. Yeah, it's funny. I've been trying to organize due to all this free time, and my archive of posters of shows I played. Yeah. So it's a burden.
Yeah.
It's totally a burden. It's like, imagine 2 full-size plastic totes just full of paper.
Wow. Yeah.
Just like I eventually, and I don't hang them on walls anymore.
Yeah,
it used to be anywhere I moved, I just took up my favorites and they immediately went up everywhere. But now I got all these paintings and other people's art and other posters. It's like, so I've been thinking about putting them all up in my rehearsal room and seeing if I could tile the entire room with just like flyers from shows I played.
Oh, nice, sweet.
But then it's might seem like a little bit of an ego room.
That's better than it wasn't with you when Joey's Throwing Elbows and you were playing with Matt on the Flumchuckers. We shared this small rehearsal space.
Oh yeah,
Gardner. When you guys left, we moved in with Mirth next door. And Pain Mask took that room. I think it was Pain Mask, or maybe it was some other band that eventually became Pain Mask. But they posted
and
they
porn.
Put porn. Yeah,
I remember.
Like weird to be like, if I'm in band practice with Joey's Throwing Elbows or literally any band I'm in, like I don't want to be aroused. Like I don't know. It just seems weird to me to be like, it's like two separate moments.
Definitely. It might be a bit distracting.
Who am I to judge, though?
Also, it might affect the way you play live. Then not sexually stimulated. You're not playing so well.
or better, maybe, who knows? Like, I really don't. I guess I don't know.
Give it a shot. See. Yeah, I always thought. I feel like I was in that room at one point. I felt the same way. I'm like, this seems a little overboard.
Well, it was definitely excessive. It's just like every surface was covered with some kind of like vagina.
So what?
What's that? What are you gonna say?
I was about to say. So how have you been? What have you, other than the podcast? What have you been doing? Walking dogs?
Yeah, the dog walking slowed down a little bit first because everyone was home, but then it kind of picked up a bunch. as people started going back to work, and I think some people just want, you know, like longer walks for the dog, so they were getting like maybe a little they got the unemployment stuff, so they were having me, you know, so it got busy. And now I'm doing deliveries at the Anchor, which has been like up and down, but like it gets very, very busy.
Yeah.
So
I imagine.
yeah, so I've been actually busier now than I was before. I'm trying to set. I've turned our living room kind of into my like podcasting studio / I have a full drum set with like that's fully mic'd right now. So I'm trying to like learn about home recording and get into that shit. You know,
Yeah.
Me and Ian Fuller, you know, he's a teacher, so he's just been home, and I guess because his classes are pretty good kids. Well, now it's summer, so he's off. But even before that, he had a little bit more free time than he did, just because he's pretty organized with the way he teaches his classes, and his kids are receptive to that, so he doesn't have to like go overboard, you know.
Yeah, that's cool.
So he's getting into home recording too. So he'll send me like some country songs to play with. Like I'll send him some like sludge metal beats, and he'll put some guitar. So like,
that's awesome.
It's fun. Like, you know, friends of mine that are like super talented. That like, there's no way me and Ian Fuller could, even before the COVID thing. Like, we couldn't practice once a week.
Yeah.
But we can send each other songs all the time. You know, it's like I'm trying to learning this technology has been kind of cool with that. You know.
Yeah. I kind of I miss having. I don't really have any full-on computer setup with recording capabilities right now, but once upon a time ago, I got a Mac Mini that came with GarageBand on it.
Oh yeah, nice.
And I just dove into it. I still have like maybe like an EP's worth of digital stuff I programmed up that I thought was so cool.
Nice.
But I was always just the worst with mixing. Like, I'd mix it and then bring it somewhere else to play for someone, and man, would it sound terrible.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, though, everyone's at home, so you could even send files to – I have no idea how to do that yet.
Yeah.
You can send files to someone that knows better, to Sean Paul or to, you know,
right.
somebody that
Just,
knows what the fuck they're doing. Like,
yeah, and that also just, like, kind of goes back to, you know, the source files. Like, if they're low and then – or not high quality, then you're not gonna. It all comes from the source. You want the highest quality source material you can get, and then that's mixable. You know.
At the same time, though, you're just gonna get better at that as you do it. You know, so just like
of course.
Sending shit back and forth to like. I just bought like a fucking double bass pedal. I still haven't fucked around with it yet. You know, but yeah, I mean.
What kind of DW?
Yeah, no, I got the Iron Cobra 600. I think it is.
Oh, nice. That's a good one.
Yeah, well, see, I asked Tatro. I was like, I had one at the beginning of like this band Hauler that me and Ian Fuller were in like the 90s in New Paltz, and I just used it because my right foot was too lazy. And as soon as I got rid of it, I got quicker with, you know, just not relying on it for things I should do with one foot. So now I have no idea what I'm doing. So I have to sit down at 45 and like try to become a metal drummer. I don't know. You know, I don't know. Why the fuck not, right?
Yeah, totally.
So what about you guys? Like, what is the plan for do you have a deadline for releasing the album?
Well, at this point, because everything is up in the air.
Yeah.
And we're really good at just going with flow. We've proven that.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, we typically average an album every 3 years. And even though we pretty much wrote this album within a year, and that happened, I think, even with the other album before it like, still just ends up, life happens, you know.
Yeah,
it just, and then like if you like, we tried to demo / start recording this over a year ago, and it though it was going well, we ended up getting derailed on that, you know. So it's like then enough time went by finishing the other songs, that the 2 songs that we demoed, like we already were better, you know, so we needed to, so, I mean, it never hurts to demo something. It never does.
How is your songwriting process? Like, do you come in, when Zach has a song, does he come in with riffs, or does he? We have a spread of different things that happen. Yeah. A lot of our instrumentals are developed together. Gotcha.
Like, we'll just, like, I have a hand recorder thing, digital hand recorder. It's pretty cool. It gets a good live sound. I just, like, if we get a riff, or if we're feeling like, or I'll just roll it if we start jamming.
That's with like you playing bass and him playing drums, and you
Yeah, and then it's like we get
around.
get a good riff. You sometimes like the riff will be 20 times as long as it should be,
Yeah.
but I'll be working out the thing I want to do.
Exactly.
And in real time, and it's just like that those are like the genuine songs. Those are the songs that are just like why it's like magical when him and I sit down and play together. We just riff. It happens. We write stuff on the spot all the time. But he also is way more engaged with his musical routine, and he composed a whole album for Stage Select, which is his video game music, and released that also.
Nice.
And we simultaneously dropped the best of live album on Bandcamp. It's not on Spotify. The Stage Select is.
Okay.
But you know, he's just I guess what I was saying by that is he is a very prolific guy and
Gotcha. Yeah.
composes all the time.
Yeah.
So he'll come to me sometimes with a song he wrote for us, and back in the day it'd be like kind of like, this is how I want it, and then I'd be like, yeah, but this part is here's how I want to play it. Sometimes we'd have a hard time hashing our differences, but like overall chiseling out a better song. But now it's like he'll come at me with more ideas, like this is the riff for the verses, do what you want. This is the chorus. Here's a bridge, but we need a bridge, or please feel free to embellish around here, do something here. So ideas. And then sometimes he even has like full on lyrics and a whole composition ready to go.
And so is he doing that on guitar, and then you're like translating it to like bass with your effects, or
he has a bass at home as well, in a home recording situation. So he'll draft up a riff and then send it to me, and I'll learn it, and then I'll play along with him. But also there's I write riffs here and there as well. Yeah. I'm not as much of a lyricist as he is, and definitely not as good of a writer generally. So like he writes all the time. He does content for websites. He writes. And
so you guys don't necessarily sing everything you're singing is not stuff you've written. You like divide up the singing.
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah. Like, well, I often will do lyrics he wrote for me, but I typically like the pirate song. We had the song written together, and we wrote it together, and we recorded it, but we had no lyrics yet. We had a concept. Yeah. So we actually wrote the lyrics right there in the studio. He was recording his lyrics while I was finishing mine. Yeah. But it was a call and response. So it made a lot more sense. You know what I mean? So I was basically writing my response to him,
which is really perfect for a band like you guys. Like I'm sure that's gonna be a fucking banger. Like,
but there's also like if there's been times where like I've written something and been like, can you sing this? Because he's a much better singer, and then there'll be times then he'll be like, hey, can you back this one up? Because I'm good at the hollering, yelling voice. Yeah. So which is I'm a decent vocalist when I want to be and I have the right voice. Yeah. But so it's like we know what our assets are, when it comes to and also he just kind of expects me to write some sort of counterpart harmonic thing on the bass to whatever riff he does. Okay. Anyway, because that's just like what I do. I like filling in the negative space, and
that's the beauty of you guys being a band for so long. Like you kind of feel out your,
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's definitely, dude. We used to have these awful hang-ups in the studio about the articulation of a part. Like we had a song that we played for years, and then got in the studio, and all of a sudden, like basically got into like just stopped the works for a good half hour, arguing over like a ba ba da ba 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 versus ba ba da ba ba ba. I'm like, we've been playing it like this. And he's like, but I wrote it this way, or the kick drum's doing this. Listen to the kick drum. I'm like, fuck your kick drum.
I mean, that's part of it though. Like, like knowing, there's a nice thing about being old is that you've known people so long and had these silly fights with them that I think it affects your relationship better because you realize what's worth fighting about and what's like there's certainly
Yeah,
not,
at this point in the game, I'll jump to it. I'll be like, when we're in the studio, I'll be like, so the kick does boom boom, but boom boom. I'm like, do you want me to lock it in there? And it's good. It does. If I allow myself to give his idea or vision a chance, it can sound better. It goes both ways. Like,
it's definitely interesting, to try it out or be the more open-minded about it you are, I think, from both sides, the better, the overall product is going to be, or, what.
Totally. Yeah. And if you could afford the time in the studio, why not? You know what I mean? Like, so like, if I'm like trying to explain to a drummer why you want to do a feedback track.
Yeah.
Just listen, let me do it. It'll be cool.
Yeah. As a drummer, I do understand why you would. Like I get it, but I don't know.
But he knows that I'll go too far if he lets me.
There you go. So he's got to rein it in. So pirate themed or water themed. Is there a name for the album?
It might end up being The Flood. I don't know if we have a working title or not.
And you're going to do the artwork, I'm guessing, right?
Of course, yeah. And I finally have a vision for it.
Oh, okay.
Which, there's a really morbid, amazing song called Last Dying Wave of a Drowning Child.
Oh, Jesus Christ. All right.
Yeah, it's a freaking awesome song. And there's Zach's lyrics, and it's just, yes, Last Dying Wave of a Drowning Child. So basically, I'm imagining, like those Japanese wave art, just tsunami waves, just very simple, like blue, black, white, or off-white.
Gotcha.
Something basically like on a CD format, square format, what appears to be a massive set of waves in that style, but with a tiny hand reaching up from out of the water.
Oh, Jesus. All right.
Like grasping for the air.
Yeah.
And it'll be really sad and scary. But like, this is as an artist, I'm usually pretty cheerful. My artist handle is dumb one, which and explaining that to people is difficult sometimes. But
I don't know that I've heard the explanations of that.
Well, but ultimately, it stems back to like childhood stuff, like being told I was dumb in school. But embracing it, and when people laugh at my art, then that's where I'm winning, because that was the purpose. Like, I'm making you smile. I'm getting a response, like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But so usually my art's somewhat funny, humorous, or just good, easy to look at.
Yeah.
This is always my outlet, my chance to make something brutal.
Stuff.
Yeah. And I mean, still to this day, my favorite is the Pandemic cover.
Here, I had that up on screen for a while before. Let's put that up again. There we go. Yeah, that's fucking great.
I mean, I got a bit of negative feedback, being like, "Oh, great, another skull on an album cover."
Fuck you. Yeah, whatever. It's like most of those albums are good,
Yeah, thanks. I wish I said that.
Yeah.
But I also backed him up. He threw he cited 3 titles. I gave him 4 more. I'm well aware that it's a played concept, but it's mine. And I distorted it, and I made it.
And the colors of this, I like Megadeth, fucking Killing Is My Business, South of Heaven. They're always, I don't know. I think this has its own aesthetic to it.
Yeah, and we color code our albums. So this is Code Orange.
Okay.
Code Orange? Yes. No, Code Yellow. Wait, what?
It looks
Code Yellow. Excuse me. Code Yellow. Yellow. Sorry, Orange is global thermonuclear war. But it's yellow. But also, I like, how do you illustrate a pandemic?
Yeah.
Like
a pile of dead body. I don't know.
Yeah. And that's been done too. So I was basically thinking like a vaporous, airborne, like something that kills you in the air. And that was like, I just basically tried to like a skull, I'm not going to use a Mr. Yuck skull, of course, but you get what I'm saying? Like I wanted to make a mutated looking skull in what appeared to be like, a gas that was taking it out, which is, I mean, I had to do the biohazard symbol for that reason, but it
looks good. I dig it.
Yeah. Thanks.
All right, man.
But,
I'm sorry. What did you say?
Oh, go ahead. No,
Is there is there anything else before we wrap it up here? What do you?
No, man, this has been a pleasure, man. I'm very
It has.
thankful. Thank you.
I've yeah, like I said, I've seen you drive by me so many times. We haven't gotten to talk, and it's great that we have.
Yeah, this was a great reason to catch up.
Right on,
Absolutely.
man. And I'm looking forward to the new album, and I'm actually looking forward to just having a beer with you at some point. You know.
Yeah, let's do that.
Hopefully, this world, you know.
Yeah, after this monsoon passes.
Right on, bro.
All right, man. Be well.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Love you, dude.
Love you, too.
Right
Love
on.
you too. Thanks. Bye.
All right, that was Paul Heath from Dead Unicorn. And we got Travis Kilgore coming up next, my friend from Chattanooga, Tennessee. We got a lot of questions to ask him. I think we're going to play a tune from one of his bands while we take a break here. And, yeah, hopefully you guys are enjoying it. I'll see you in a bit. Welcome back to 15 Beers on a Tuesday afternoon, episode 14. I almost got myself a little mixed up there because I'm fucking booze hound. All right, we had Paul Heath up on episode 1, or our first interview. Now we're going to talk to Travis Kilgore, who I met while he was coming through Kingston playing bass for Mark Porkchop Holder and the MPH. We'll give him a call right now.
Yellow.
Hey, what's up, buddy?
I just sitting here listening to the rain, man. What about you?
It's pretty much doing the same. Well, no, drinking beers and talking to people actually is what I've been doing. Then I ran up and peed real quick while we played a Scarlett Love Conspiracy song. That's you and your partner's band, right?
Yeah, it's me and my wife and a couple of dear friends of ours and my eldest youngin when they're not off living in Pennsylvania instead of down here in God's country.
Oh, does that happen? They run off and it's like a reverse. What is that called with the people that drive the carts, the like Dutch country, like Ramashamagan something, or where they can like run off for a little while.
Oh, Rumspringa.
Rumspringa, yeah. So it's like a reverse Rumspringa where your child runs off to Pennsylvania. Do they churn butter and do that opposite stuff and then come back to the wild Tennessee?
Well, I don't know about churning butter and all that shit, but I know they're not playing rock and roll and raising hell. So,
all right, that's an interesting, reverse. I like it.
Instead of Rumspringa, I guess it's actually Unspringa.
So how's it going, man? How's you're in Chattanooga?
Well, I'm actually in Rossville, Georgia, which is just across the state line from Chattanooga, but
Gotcha.
It's the metro Chattanooga area.
So is that like Rossville Boulevard? Is that where Bruin Q is?
It is.
Okay, yeah, all right. I spent some time down there with Husky, so I don't want to say I know my way around Chattanooga, but I know, the Rossville.
Yeah, the Bruin Q is probably 5 miles from here, maybe less.
All right on. What's stuff like there now? Our shows are happening in Tennessee, right?
Yeah, there's shows going on, man, but as I say every time I pass a church or any large gathering or anything like that, I say, them motherfuckers going to get the Rona.
Yeah. So you guys have been playing it cool, kind of sitting back?
Oh, yeah. I've been playing in my living room and getting together with Chop to work on music in his living room, and that's it.
Okay, right on. Like live streams and stuff have you guys been doing, or are you just like working?
Not yet. I'm kind of down for that, but I think Chop wants to have his ducks more in a row. Of course, I mean he's more methodical than I am, so that makes sense.
Yeah. Are you guys working on a new album?
Maybe.
Oh, it's top secret? Is it? Yeah.
I don't know what I can confirm or deny, so I'm just going to be real cagey and confirm or deny nothing.
All right, fair enough. So, but it's you and Mark Porkchop Holder, maybe some Doug involved, maybe not.
No, man, Doug's living down in Clarksdale these days while we're back here in Chattanooga.
Gotcha.
Yeah, this isn't secret at all. Mark has been spending a fair amount of time at a local rehearsal space with this drummer named Nick Sturkey.
Okay.
He went down to Mexico with us
I gotcha. Okay, yeah.
And the Right Reverend James Legg played a couple days down in Mexico, and the aforementioned Right Reverend James Legg has been hanging out at this rehearsal space too. And me and Chop have been hanging out.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not confirming or denying anything. I'm just saying stuff that has been said publicly on Facebook.
Unfortunately, this is not a prestigious blues podcast where I get to break stories or anything. But when was that?
Hell, just for that, when there is an announcement to make, I'll my God, make sure you're the one to make it.
When was that Mexico? That was like a year ago, 2 years ago?
Mexico was 2017, so 3 years.
3 years ago. And what was that like? You guys did about a week, right?
Well, we were down there for about a week, but we only did 2 shows. We flew from Nashville to Dallas? Is that right? Or no? Did we fly straight from Nashville to Mexico City? I think we flew from Nashville to Dallas and then flew from Dallas to Mexico City. Right, stayed the night, got up the next day, and rode 7 hours to Guadalajara and played a show there. Stayed the night, drove 7 hours back to Mexico City the next day, played that show. Up to that point, that was the most rock and roll show of my life. That was crazy.
Mexico City?
Mexico City, dude. Yeah, it was amazing. And then we got to hang out in Mexico for about 3 days, I think it was, while we were waiting on our hosts to get money for our airline tickets, because we didn't actually go down there to get paid because there's visa laws and all this and that. But, we got flown down, fed, and all that. And we had to wait for them to get the money together for our plane tickets. So we spent about 3 days fiddle farting around Mexico City. As for how it was, the shows were amazing. And for anybody who's listening who needs to hear this, if you're listening to that orange shit stain in the White House and his hateful rhetoric about the people that are coming north across the border, I saw more dignity and hard work going on in Mexico City and Guadalajara than I've seen anywhere in the goddamn United States. I was sitting there having dinner with some friends at a mall in Mexico City, and it was one of our hosts and his dad who didn't speak any English, so me and his dad are having this conversation through him as the translator. Yeah. And his dad asked me, he said, did anybody try to warn you against coming to Mexico? And I said, yeah, I heard stories about, kidnapping and all sorts of silly shit. And he said, well, what do you think of that? And this didn't need to be translated. I think the gesture's pretty universal. I just made a real exaggerated masturbation gesture, and the guy laughed. And, he asked me what I thought of Mexico. I said, man, the people are friendly as hell. It's a beautiful, beautiful countryside. The cities are beautiful. It's, I loved it down there. I already was not inclined to be prejudiced, towards my brown kin from across the border, but actually having been down there amongst them, for a week or so, like it was even less so. Everybody was friendly. Everybody was helpful. Man, I didn't have anything but good things to say about the Mexican people while I was down there. I would go back in a heartbeat.
You got a little pooch there, huh?
Yeah, it's our vicious guard dog.
I feel like he's trying to chime in.
He's a Chiweenie. He's 3/4 Chihuahua and a quarter Dachshund. Right. So he's one of those little shiver and piss dogs that's made of hate and hate and aggression.
What was Mexico City like? That's a really big city compared, like world-wise. It's like not.
Oh, Mexico City is huge, and I think the oldest city, maybe on the planet. I can't remember. I know I'm almost certain it's the oldest city in North America. Okay. Mexico City is beautiful. Yeah. It's you drive around during the day, and the Mexican people will paint their homes and their businesses really bright, vibrant colors. Okay. And it makes this interesting mosaic pattern, as you just kind of take a panoramic scan of any area.
Gotcha.
It's absolutely beautiful. And then at night, the streets in town, you'll have like 2 or 3 lanes going in each direction with a great big wide like avenue of grass separating the two, like the biggest median you've ever seen with, landscape trees and stuff like that. And they had colored floodlights pointed up at the trees. So even at night, it's a riot of color, It's fantastic and much, much colder than I expected. It was Mexico in August, and I was kind of expecting Satan's nutsack, but we had forgotten to take into account that it's at 5,000 or 6,000 feet. So it was surprisingly cool.
Yeah, right on. I don't know shit about like Mexico City is on the eastern side, relatively, of Mexico, right? If I'm not mistaken.
I believe so. My knowledge of Mexican geography is pretty limited.
Yeah. I mean, you're better than me because you've driven 7 hours. What about Guadalajara? What was that show like?
Didn't get to spend as much time in Guadalajara. It was literally show up, go to the venue, load in, sound check, eat, play, sleep.
Yeah. Gotcha.
As is so often the case on tour, regardless of country. But the little bit that I saw, it was cool. The venue was cool. The crowd was really enthusiastic. It was a fantastic experience.
Yeah. Is James Legg from Tennessee, or how do you guys know him?
Man, I think he was actually born in Texas, and I know he's got a bunch of family down there. But I believe he moved here, young, like 2, 4, 5, something like that. So he kind of grew up in East Chattanooga area we call Birchwood. The locals will understand that. So yeah, I think he has tattoos of like Texas and Tennessee on his arm. So
yeah. So a bunch of you, not only Husky and you guys, but this fucking Chattanooga blues scene is kind of a thing, huh?
Yeah, much to my surprise.
I was there was a day, like, Husky's been to my house a bunch of times, and there's been a bunch of afternoons that we've just kind of sit around here either before or the day after the show, and he's playing my roommate's kind of beater guitar. There's one day where he just figured out most of the second side of Injustice for All from memory, just like playing whatever. And then you were here when y'all van broke down, so you were here for a bunch of days playing that same guitar, doing some other Metallica songs.
You mean like
exactly like that? So I didn't realize I could start a YouTube channel called Chattanooga Blues Musicians Play Metallica songs on my roommate's guitar. In New York.
I'm telling you, if I ever get back to Kingston, I am down for that.
Yeah. Husky was supposed to be here, I want to say, early July, but obviously everything got canceled. So.
Yep.
And you are a Metallica fan that enjoys the newer. You're my age, right? You're 45, I believe, right?
45, yeah.
See, I'm kind of a snob after Injustice. You're not so much.
Man, if you take the stuff that people have bitched about since Injustice for All and let any other band in the world put those records out, they would absolutely be raising hell about what great heavy rock albums they are. And we're talking about like the Black Album and the Load albums. We'll come to Saint Anger in just a second.
Okay.
But like the Black Album and the Load albums are kick-ass. Black Album's still unquestionably metal. The Load albums have their metal moments, but even it's not like they did pop country. It's still good, hard, just driving ass, pounding ass rock. And the best songwriting of James Hetfield's career occurred on Load, the song Outlaw Torn. If James Hetfield lives to be 997 years old, the Outlaw Torn is the best song that man will ever live to write, and I would stand on his dinner table and say so if it was a sturdy dinner table that had steps going up to it.
Yeah, I think that they just led me down such a road, with Ride of Lightning and Master of Puppets, that even Injustice for All for me was like kind of like, yeah, okay, this is good, but it's not,
man,
it's not. Those two for me are just like something otherworldly,
Man, what it is for me, I connected with, and there's all kinds of things about the music that I could sit here and geek out about. Every instrument, every player that's ever been in the band. But honestly, what really sealed the deal for me was Hetfield's lyrics.
Yeah.
And those, I have connected with those on an emotional level that no other band has touched, and very few have even approached.
Yeah, okay.
And that hasn't changed across the eras and the styles, you know?
What was the first song of his that, like, really got to you?
Well, one, as stereotypical as it sounds, is the one that made a fan out of me. Now, you got to understand, man, I grew up down here in Dumfuckistan, you know, the buckle of the Bible Belt. And, you know, heavy metal is the devil's music and all that shit. And even though I didn't grow up in a particularly religious home, you're default Baptist down here. Unless you were actively brought up something else, you are default Baptist.
Yeah, okay.
And so my next door neighbor, Grant Sweeten, who was, God, I forget how much older than me, but he was the rebellious older kid, and he would walk around with his boombox, you know, and I can remember him coming over to visit, and he had Kill 'Em All in the cassette player on his boombox, and I heard this voice go, "Am I evil? Yes, I am." And I was like, oh my God, it's so satanic, you know? But then I got older and became an angry young adolescent, and they released a video for one, and this was back when MTV still played music, and so if you watched MTV at all, which we all did all the damn time, you couldn't get away from this video.
Yeah.
And it got into my head, and I had another friend, a guy named Gary Bowen. He ran me off a copy on cassette.
Yeah.
And, man, I was 15 years old. I'm 45 now, 30 years later. Still nothing gives me a charge like they did.
Yeah, right on. So is Injustice one of your favorite albums?
Then you got the new stuff.
Like,
what's that now?
After you heard it, you know, I'm guessing you bought Injustice.
Oh yeah.
And then you went back to Master of Puppets, back to Ride the Lightning. Okay.
In exact reverse order, just like that.
Okay. Yeah. It's like, I feel like the only two that makes the first three make sense to me. Kill 'Em All into Ride the Lightning into Master of Puppets. And then I don't know. I guess it makes sense, but after that, it's kind of where maybe they just couldn't go any higher. You know, like I don't know.
Man, I mean, you know, again, my favorite song. Well, I can't say favorite. That'll depend on my mood on any given day. But the best song is on Load, and it's this song Outlaw Torn, like I mentioned.
Yeah. And
it's about Hetfield's complicated relationship with his mother, and that's one of the things I liked about the Load album. You know, heavy metal is angry music, and Battery is about smashing through towns and killing people and all that shit, but it's not really about that. It's about being angry at your fucking dad. You know, it's heavy metal. All this stuff is couched in this imagery, and we're all talking around the issue instead of actually talking about it. But it's like Load and Reload, they're like, you know what, fuck that. I'm just going to write about the shit that hurts. And it was fucking stunning. And there's a breakdown that occurs twice in the song, before and after the solo. And it's actually, if you listen to it, it's really influenced heavily by two different songs by The Who. See Me, Feel Me, Suck Me, Fuck Me, whatever the fuck that is from Tommy. And then the other one is Behind Blue Eyes. And, he's like, see me, and if my face becomes, see me, if I close my mind in fear, please pry it open, hear me, and if my face becomes sincere, beware, hold me, and if I start to come undone, stitch me together, save me, and if you see me strut, remind me of what left this outlaw torn. I mean, I'm getting cold chills just reciting the goddamn lyrics to you, It's just his deepest and most personal and introspective stuff ever, and lyrically, it's the best he'll ever do.
Gotcha.
But now, then there's Saint Anger, which was an overblown demo. That really could have been made into a good album with some more production. But even that turd had 5 or 6 songs that I really like, actually including my second favorite, maybe third favorite of his lyrics, a song called The Unnamed Feeling.
Gotcha.
And then, of course, since then, you've had Death Magnetic and Hardwired to Self-Destruct, both of which are fantastic, unquestionably metal albums, and people are still like, Metallica still sucks. Well, man, thrash metal heads ain't happy with those two albums. You can't fuck them happy with a gold dildo, you know?
That's fair enough.
But that's my band. I mean, my son's named James after James Hetfield, so,
gotcha.
you know.
Right on. How you feel about Ghost?
Dude, I used to hate Ghost because when I first saw them, I saw a picture somewhere online, and I was like, this is going to be so over-the-top satanic that I'm going to hate it for being cartoonish.
Okay.
But I've got to check it out anyway. So I went and listened to them, and they looked like they did and didn't sound anything like they looked.
They're like,
you know?
They're an 80s fucking pop band. They're like Starship. They're closer to Starship than they are to King Diamond.
The best comparison I heard was a heavier Blue Oyster Cult.
Are they heavier than Blue Oyster Cult? I don't think they are.
Oh, way heavier. Oh, dude, listen to From the Pinnacle to the Pit. Listen to Ritual. There's a breakdown in the middle of that where it just goes straight metal.
Okay.
Faith off the new album is heavy as shit. What's Rats?
Rats
is pretty good and heavy.
Yeah.
They're getting. There's a tendency to get heavier as the music goes. But I had my stepdaughter over for a visit one time, and somehow Ghost came up, and I absolutely went. Oh, yeah. She said she loved them. And I'm like, man, fuck Ghost. And so I, like, pulled up YouTube, and I typed in Ghost, you know, watching it on the TV. And the first song that came up was Square Hammer. And I'm like, they all suck. This will do. Allow me to show you why this band you like sucks. And I played the song, and it didn't suck.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't heavy, but it didn't suck.
Yeah.
And it was one of those things where once the dam broke, it broke all to hell.
Yeah.
So they're absolutely one of my favorite bands these days. And my wife and I saw them here in Chattanooga 2 years ago. Yeah. 2 years ago, and it was the fourth best live show of my life.
Fourth best. I have a picture on the screen now of you in corpse paint. I don't know if this is from that show.
No, that was actually from a St. Patty's on the Parkway, St. Patrick's Day gig we played at a local Irish pub, and they had face painting for the kids. And I thought, I wonder if this chick will do Papa Emeritus face paint. Well, by God, she did.
Okay, all right.
So here the Scarlett Love Conspiracy is in this Irish pub, you know, playing for all these drunks, and I've got this, you know, skull painted on my face.
Just you, though.
Just me.
All right. There you go. I dig it. You know, it's, you know, why not, right?
Yeah. Now I was not the only one in face paint, actually. You had a butterfly. I think my wife had a butterfly painted on her face or something like that, which hers actually made some sense. You know, here I am in this, you know, death metal damn corpse paint thing going on. It was a great gig. We had a wonderful time. But yeah, I'm, you know, used to being the odd man out.
I've only heard the song that I played. What is it? Chained.
Mm-hmm.
That is a great song, but that's kind of in the genre that you guys do. What do you guys call yourself, like?
The simple answer is, much like with MPH, where the simple answer is blues, but it's way more complicated than that.
Okay.
The Scarlett Love Conspiracy, the easy answer is rock, but it's rock by people who know how to properly pronounce the words y'all and dog. You know, it's not Southern rock; it's rock by Southerners, and some of it's harder, like Chained. Some of it is. Like there's a song, a Hill Country Girl, that's a straight up friggin' 3/4 time waltz.
Gotcha.
It's a country, you know, it's a straight country song.
Yeah. And
we kind of, the needle veers wildly between, you know, rock, heavy rock over to country, you know, and anywhere in between. But now Chained, that's a song I'm particularly proud of. My wife and I are unapologetically leftist.
Yeah.
And you know, our drummer and guitar player, Kat and Eric Onley, they're a married couple, too. I don't know if you'd call them leftists. They're just not fascists. You know, they're just kind of, you know, normal, moderate people. And, you know, Heather wrote this really great lyric. If one of us is chained and none of us are free. And,
it's good. It's
you know, the whole
great line. I dig it.
Yeah, I mean, that line sums up the whole song. Of course, there's more lyrics than that, but that's the crux of it. And, that's kind of a typical songwriting arrangement where she'll write the lyrics and I'll write the music.
Gotcha. Okay, that's cool.
Which is not always the case. She's come a long way in her own guitar playing and is getting to where she's writing songs without me completely, which tickles me. You know, it's great growing your abilities. But I was really, really, really proud, particularly of that one, not only for how it turned out, but for the message and you know the fact that we are just unapologetically standing up in front of God and everybody. We are on the side of the oppressed. If you don't like it, eat one. You know.
Yeah, no, I get it. And I think it's a good message as far as, you know, if one dude's in prison for 20 years for fucking weed, then, you know, anyone that's ever smoked weed is in prison for 20 years. Like, you know, some laws are ridiculous. You know, I don't know. Anything that can be done to anybody can be done to you.
Yep.
I feel like there's a beauty in expressing that and trying to get more people to understand that.
Yeah, we make no bones about that. My weirdo acoustic guitar that I play, which used to be a bass, which was then converted into a 6-string baritone.
Okay.
You remember Doug, former drummer for NPH, had
absolutely.
This Machine Killed Fascist emblazoned, you know, upon his bass drum head. Well, I've got it on my acoustic guitar, so you know, when she and I are playing out somewhere, here's this clear statement of where we lie.
Yeah.
And as a matter of fact, NPH, we did a 10-day run with a French blues rock 3-piece called Dirty Deep, whom I recommend without reservation. They are great guys and a kick-ass band.
Which band is this? Who is that?
Dirty Deep is their name. They're out of Strasbourg, France.
Okay.
And when I you know, the first time I heard, hey, there's this French blues band that's going to be playing this festival with you, I admit I was a little skeptical because most American blues bands don't get it right. But then I went and saw these guys play, and I'm like, son of a bitch, they've done their homework. These guys are fucking awesome. But we did a 10-day run with them, and we stayed with this guy and his wife down in New Orleans, Louisiana.
Oh, it was a tour of America, like the South?
Yeah, this is just a southeastern tour.
Gotcha.
And ended up in Clarksdale. Didn't that tour end up in Clarksdale, baby? Yeah, that tour started in Greenville, South Carolina, and ended up in Clarksdale, Mississippi. But, you know, between there we played New Orleans. And we had a day off, and we were staying with this guy who was a fan of Dirty Deep, who had extended the offer, hey, you know, if you're ever in town, you need a place to crash, hit me up. And he had this big, beautiful house and this fantastic swimming pool, and
with a waterfall.
And I mean, a stripper pole on the pergola by the pool, and a stripper pole in his bedroom.
You just
and well, no, we walked. It was 4 a.m, and I hadn't showered in about 4 days. Touring in the South in a bus with no air conditioning, so you can understand the level of funk.
I've been there.
And so we walked in this guy's back gate at 4 a.m, and I looked around and immediately, and I mean, shame on me because he shouldn't do this, even though I proved to be right. I looked around and I was like, these people are douchebags. I absolutely do not like them already. Hadn't spoken a word to them.
Yeah.
And we walked in, and, you know, of course, I was kind of bringing up the rear, and people were kind of seated around, and introductions were made and all that shit. And I looked at the host, the guy, and I said, which end's the deep end? And he said, then down there with the waterfall. And I stripped butt-ass naked and jumped in his pool right there in front of God and everybody.
Go get it.
But, like, the next day we had the day off, and we were supposed to go into New Orleans itself and do the touristy thing.
Yep.
And this guy turned out to be a goddamn Trump humper. Heather was like the first one up that morning. She goes in the kitchen to get a cup of coffee, and this cocksucker's got a Trump bobblehead on his kitchen window. And guy's like, hey, go Trump, huh? And Heather looks at him and goes, I'm a Southern Democrat. just icy stare, you know. Yeah. And this guy was trying to pay us out of his own pocket to play the official GOP Low Country Bowl for the state of Louisiana. What
does that even mean? I don't even.
Well, it was the GOP, the Republican Party. It was their official Low Country Bowl, the Louisiana GOP.
Oh, okay. I got you. Yeah, all right.
And they were trying to get us to play there, and they were going to pay us pretty damn well to do it.
Yeah.
And man, we just couldn't do it. We politely declined. We were going to anyway. You know, we had talked about it amongst ourselves. We could have used the money, but It was playing a goddamn Nuremberg rally, and I mean, like, the Louisiana, what was the fucking title? The head honcho of tourism and music was going to be there. Like, this would have been a good career move. We just could not do it in good conscience. But I mean, we were talking about it, and we were already, how do we approach it? How do we tell them no without like being dicks about it?
Yeah.
And then they asked us to take Doug's drum head off because This Machine Kills Fascists might have offended somebody there.
Okay.
At that point, we didn't care about being rude anymore. Yeah. And so not only that, when we got back home, I peeled a sticker off of my bass to clear space, and I handed it to Heather with a gold paint pen. I said, "Your handwriting is better than mine. Please do this." So now my bass, or one of my basses, has "This Machine Kills Fascists," emblazoned upon it.
Yeah.
So, pretty much any instrument I'm playing in any of my bands, there's likely to be a statement of political leanings, either in the music or even just visually.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, it's interesting because I feel like the right-wing stuff is a little bit more like thinking of things as a chess game, and they're a little bit more ahead. Like they're doing things to provoke a reaction that they know is going to come, so they already have a reaction to it. But this Machine Kills Fascist stickers is like kind of defeats that to an extent. It's like, how do you oppose that? Like, that's offensive to you? Because that's don't get me wrong.
The right-wingers think that leftists are a bunch of skinny little vegan soy boys, that would wither in the face of any kind of physical opposition. They don't realize that a lot of us are great goddamn big hillbillies.
Yeah.
And, they don't know how to handle us. But, like, when we toured France, so that people would have no mistaken ideas about what kind of Americans we were, Mark would take a Sharpie and write "fuck Trump" on the back of his right hand.
Gotcha, yeah.
And that never failed to get a reaction out of folks. And it wasn't just for a reaction. It was a statement.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And Mark's a very sincere dude.
That tour ended at the Benique Folk Blues Festival in Brittany, Benique, coastal France. And God almighty, dude, we were on stage in front of like 30,000 people,
Jesus.
Maybe more. At that time, it was the most people I'd ever been in front of.
You keep saying that. That's great. I love that.
Well, like it was Mexico City first, then it was this.
I fucking love it. That's great.
And then, the next one was the next night. There were like 40, 50,000 people in front of us then. That was insane. But that was a nighttime gig. For the daytime show, we realized that it was too big for people to see "fuck Trump" on somebody's hand. And I was too sweaty for a marker to actually mark on my skin, so I ran 2 pieces of tape down my right forearm and had this lovely French lady named Marie, whose last name I will not attempt to pronounce for fear of fucking it up. But she was a stranger at the time, but I asked her to scotch tape this thing to my arm. So I run 2 pieces of white tape down my arm and then scotch tape around the ends to hold it in place. And I gave her a red marker, and in big jagged letters, she wrote "fuck Trump" down my right forearm. And I played the whole show with that. And when I walked out on stage, the people cheered because they are enthusiastic for American roots music, period.
Yeah.
But then they caught sight of that thing, and they absolutely went batshit. And people, let me tell you, if you have never stood on a stage in front of 30 or 40,000 rowdy Europeans pumping your fist in the air and leading them in a rousing chant of "fuck Trump, fuck Trump, fuck Trump," I cannot recommend it strongly enough.
I'm in. Just show me where to sign up. I'm into it.
But yeah, neither of my bands, or I guess I should say all three, because my wife and I also play as an acoustic duo called Resurrection Mary. None of my bands are afraid to take a political stance.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And,
I mean, it's one thing to take a political stance. Like most of the shows I play are fucking, 24 people. It's one thing to do that. It's another to do it in front of 30,000 people. I guess that's 30,000. To covet that or to curtail that, 30,000 foreigners is probably different than if you imagine doing that in front of 30,000 people in Alabama, that
And I absolutely would.
I know you would. I know.
No
I'm not
fucks are
saying you
given.
would,
Yeah.
So when was the Paris tour? That was after Mexico, and that's
that was 2018.
Porkchop. Okay.
Yeah, that was me and Doug and Chop, and
so you basically went from being stuck at my house for a week to playing for 30,000 people in Mexico City, and then going to Paris and playing for 40,000. So I was basically the what is it called? The launching pad for your career.
You were the catalyst, actually. You were.
Yeah. You put that in the bio. Once you put stuck on Kevin's couch for a week and a half, the fucking the offers started pouring in for international.
Look, dude, I'm not blowing smoke up your ass, man. Those 3 days, I believe it was 3-4 days, whatever it was, we were stuck there in Kingston. Jesus Christ, man, that ended up being the most positive tour experience, especially for something that started as a negative. For the people who are listening who don't know, we were playing Kingston, New York, the Anchor. First time in this town, first time in this bar. And 20 minutes outside town, our van dies. And I'm talking about, in nomine Patri, Filii, Spiritus Sancto, dies. And so we had to have it towed to the venue, and we were playing with Kevin's band, Red Necromancer. Cool venue. His band was great night. And, we, of course, rolled up with the van on the back of a flatbed. And, you were like, man, look, I'm a touring musician. I know what this is like. Y'all can crash with us. Because we didn't know where the fuck we were staying. We didn't know what it was a Sunday. No, it was Saturday. We didn't know what the fuck was wrong with the van. It was going to be, Monday before we could get it even looked at. And, man, we will never forget you putting us up for those days and the friends we made there in the house and across the street, Sigrid Sarda, we're still buddies. She's down in New Orleans now. And, man, just the way that whole Kingston crew rallied around us and put us up and put up with us and, and took us places when we needed, to go buy our bus. Woodstock, we named the bus Woodstock because it came from Woodstock, from an old hippie who had. Woodstock is no longer a touring vehicle anymore. I'm sad to say. Oh, no. She came from Vermont originally. She was pretty rusty when we got her, and apparently that level of salt corrosion, you can't really stop it, even if you take it out of Vermont. Yeah. So. Before we went on hiatus, she was staying in Clarksdale in Doug's care, and the frame just got too rusted to drive. So it's actually been moved to a place called the New Roxy there in Clarksdale to be used as sleeping quarters and a green room for that venue, which pleases us to no end.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, because we love Robin and Lena, the ladies that run the place, and we love the New Roxy, and we love Clarksdale. And just the fact that our bus that we toured in, that we built the beds in and all that shit, is going to be used for that. Is about the best end for us that vehicle could have come to. I hate to see her go.
Yeah.
I hate to see her go because she was a great tour vehicle. As a matter of fact, Chop and I have kicked around the idea of buying another bus and fitting it out the same way.
Nice.
But yeah, that all started there in Kingston, man. And I mean, we made friends. By God, that I will be friends with until I am no longer walking this planet. Yourself definitely included.
And I see Francis fucking, commenting on, you guys are
that goofy bastard, man. We're all time back and forth on Facebook.
He's awesome.
Oh, I love that guy.
Yeah. I want to talk about the France stuff, but I'm afraid I'm going to forget about Clarksdale. So I want to talk about Clarksdale first. What's
I'd rather talk about Clarksdale than France anyway.
Goat Fest, right? Is that what happens down there? Like Husky has told me about this, I believe.
There are 3 festivals down there. Well, actually, when the Rona is not an issue, I think there's 11 different festivals throughout the year down there. Maybe 14. Like it's a lot,
and
because they realize
right? Clarksdale, Mississippi.
Clarksdale, Mississippi, yeah, and they realize that the blues is the only thing that's bringing money into that town, so they push it, real hot and heavy. But of those festivals, all of which are blues oriented to some degree or another, there are 3 that are really really big for sort of punk blues musicians like us, and in no order of importance. I'll list them in the order in which I played them. You've got Deep Blues, which originally actually started up in Bayport, Minnesota, by a guy named Chris Johnson, who's a hell of a good guy. you got Deep Blues, and then you've got Goat Fest, which is run by my homeboy Todd Laney down out of Austin,
I
Texas.
feel like Husky has told me about that one.
Dude, Todd is a great guy. Goat Fest actually is my favorite festival. The third one is Juke Joint, which is arguably the biggest. Gotcha. But actually, Goat Fest is probably my favorite, simply because more than any of the other festivals, it is run as an excuse for people who love that music and who love each other, having met on the road, to have an excuse to hang out.
Yeah, gotcha. That's what a lot of the good
it's a festival. It's a festival. It's a show. There's multiple shows. It's all that. There's money involved. There's all that. But really, it's an excuse to hang out with your road dog buddies. I mean, it's a festival that people, musicians, if they're not on tour, they'll go to Goat Fest just to be there with their friends.
Yeah, right on. Yeah, I've definitely heard. Husky has told me great things, and it's fucking.
Oh,
cool.
yeah. Yeah, Clarksdale is one of my favorite places on the face of the planet, hands down. And it actually kind of blew me away because we here in the South realize that we are the redheaded stepchild of the rest of the country.
Well,
a lot of people.
No, to an extent. I mean, it depends where.
I'm not saying everybody, but the South has a certain reputation. And some of it's even true, But here in the South,
the only show I've ever played in Mississippi was in Pascagoula. Which
oh my God,
is not necessarily southern. It's like a military base town. That's also
where that Ray Stevens song took place.
What song is that?
You never heard the Mississippi Squirrel Revival?
No, I have not.
Man, sometimes I forget you ain't southern, dude. Look
Pascagoula is kind of fucked up, but that's the only place I've ever played. So I've never been to Clarksdale or wherever the fuck Old Miss is, or any of the
Well, man, my thing with
what's the capital of Mississippi? What's the capital of Mississippi?
I don't fucking know. Clarksdale, as far as I'm concerned.
Montgomery?
No, actually, the capital of Mississippi is Memphis. If the actual truth be told.
To an extent, yeah, I get that. I say Philadelphia is the capital of New Jersey in the same way.
Culturally, Jackson. My wife, who is smarter than me, says it's Jackson, Mississippi.
Okay.
But, here in the South, we're the country's redheaded stepchild, but Mississippi is the South's redheaded stepchild.
Yeah.
It's like, things are fucked up here in Chattanooga, but by God, we're not Mississippi,
Yeah. Well, you're right on the corner. You're on the corner, Georgia, Mississippi, and you're like right
Tennessee,
where you are.
Tennessee, Alabama, and Georgia is the little tri-state area here.
Yeah.
But,
so Mississippi's farther away. I got you. Okay.
Yeah, Mississippi's way over on the other end of the state.
Yeah.
But, so, like, I had started playing with Mark and Doug, and I hadn't even left my factory job at the time. We were just kind of doing weekend runs, gearing up to go at it full time. And we had been booked to play Deep Blues. So we went to Memphis, played a show there and stayed with some friends, and then went down to Clarksdale. And, man, here's this state that I have poked fun at my whole damn life. And don't get me wrong, Mississippi has got its problems. God knows it does, politically and economically and shit like that. But I absolutely fell head over heels in love with Clarksdale.
All right.
And,
where is it in the state? It's like kind of northern.
It's North Mississippi, yeah.
Yeah.
It's roughly an hour or so south of Memphis.
Okay. Yeah, right on.
But, like, I come back, from that run, and my wife's like, man, what's Mississippi like? And I said, oh, my God, baby, it's amazing, And so we stayed at the Shack Up Inn, which is hands down my favorite lodgings on the planet. And it's literally
been to France and the Shack Up Inn is his favorite lodging. You're out of your fucking mind.
It's literally, it was an old cotton plantation, the Hobson plantation.
Okay,
now it does not predate the Civil War, so it was not that kind of plantation. But you actually stay in former sharecropper shacks that they've brought onto the property. Now, they've updated them with electricity and running water and bathrooms and stuff like that, but it's like you're staying in these shacks and you're imagining whole-ass families in these, one-room shacks.
Crazy.
And I was telling Heather about that. She's like, you couldn't pay me to stay there. She goes, why? She goes, it's got to be haunted. I said, baby, let me tell you something. Mississippi is haunted. You know, it ain't like Chattanooga, is the South, and you could do some digging and find some places that slavery happened around here, but it ain't like that in Mississippi. You're driving down the damn road, you throw a piece of paper out the window, it's going to land on the spot where slavery happened.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
you stop to get gas, and slavery happened there too.
Yeah.
And all these other square feet of land you're passing, slavery happened right goddamn there. And the weight of those centuries of suffering can still be felt to this day. You know, and like you get down there and you spend some time around the people, and man, the people in Clarksdale are cool. They really are. And it's like, holy shit, this is the crucible. This is the birthplace. This is where the blues coalesced. You know, rock and roll was born in Clarksdale. You know, Ike Turner wrote one of the first rock and roll songs ever, Delta. Was it Rocket 88? In Clarksdale, Mississippi. You know, there's just so much history there, so many musicians from there, and so many other musicians passed through. And I remember asking Chop, I said, what the fuck is it? Why are so many people from Clarksdale or spent time here before leaving Mississippi? And he said, Clarksdale was the southernmost rail stop. Okay. So people from all parts of Mississippi would make their way north to catch a train, and that put them in Clarksdale, and that would take them north to Chicago or Memphis or Chicago or where the fuck ever else.
Wow, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
So that's why the Blues Hall of Fame in Clarksdale, Mississippi, is actually in the old train depot.
Yeah, fuck yeah, that's fascinating
and so much history there. I mean, I could go on at length, but there's one that I specifically want to point out. Okay. My hometown has done a shitty job of embracing and celebrating the fact that the Empress of the fucking blues came from here. Yeah, we've got the Bessie Smith Hall, you know, which is underutilized, but that's it. Dude, Bessie Smith was an underrated badass, not only as a musician, but as a person. She was playing a show in a tent, and the Klan showed up, like a big circus tent, not a camping tent, you know? Yeah. And several truckloads of Klan members showed up with their torches and their hoods and axes and shotguns, and they were trying to chop down the ropes to collapse the tent on the show. And Bessie marched her ass out of the tent and straight up punked these guys out with nothing but her voice and her fists. Here's however many guys with axes and shotguns, and she just gets in their asses, and they tuck tail and run. Bessie Smith was a bad motherfucker by any measure, and she drew her last breath in Clarksdale, Mississippi, and every time I go to Clarksdale, she died in what used to be the African-American hospital down there, which is now the Riverside Inn, a hotel and sort of blues museum, because like John Lee Hooker lived there, and there's been a number of other notable residents. But Bessie Smith died there, and every time I'm in Clarksdale, I go by the Riverside Inn and pay my respects to Bessie.
Holy shit, man! It's powerful shit.
Yeah, this is the God's honest truth, man. If there's an afterlife, you know, if there is, I hope Bessie's there. And I hope I get to go there too. And I hope, so help me, I hope she comes up to me and says, man, you from Chattanooga, you play the blues too. Let's get us a beer.
Fuck yeah, dude.
You know, like seriously, that's God's honest. That's like a guiding principle for me, you know, as I play music and especially the stuff I do with Chop is, you know, I want to make Bessie proud. I want her, if I get to meet her in if there is a hereafter and I get to meet her in it, you know, I hope she's proud to claim me as a homeboy.
You know what? I'm not optimistic about the fairy tale-ness of that, but I'm proud to claim you as a homeboy, and I hope that there is that for you and that she does, you know?
Yeah. And I mean, even if there ain't, and if she don't, I still try to, because, you know, she's one of my heroes.
Way, man. It's the best way to live your life. I think if more people live their life like that, like everything would be much better off for everybody.
Agreed.
Yeah. Well, it's been fucking great talking to you, dude. Anything else you wanted to throw in before we finish it up? We're in no hurry here.
Man, everybody that's listening, if you value decency, compassion, and basic humanity, I implore you from the bottom of my heart, if you're not registered to vote, please register. And please go to the polls in November and vote to get Donald Trump the fuck out of office. I know Joe Biden is a problematic candidate on many levels, and there are actually very good reasons that people have put forth why they won't vote to him, up to and including people who are victims of survivors of sexual abuse who cannot in good conscience vote for somebody with credible accusations of sexual misconduct. I get that. But unless you've got some really deep, abiding thing like that to keep you from voting for him, for the sake of keeping our country from imploding into a cloud of fascism and nuclear dust, please vote to get that orange son of a bitch out of the White House in November, and vote blue down ticket. Vote blue for your congresspeople, vote blue for your senators, vote blue in your local shit, not because I think the Democrats are so goddamn great, but because it's the only realistic option we have right now to undo the damage that stupid son of a bitch and his enablers have done since 2016.
And then hold them accountable and fucking, seriously, hold them accountable.
Oh, absolutely. Don't let that be the end of it. Let that be the start of it.
We need, and I guess it's maybe not the time or place for this, but we need to get Biden elected and then hold him as accountable as Trump has been, media-wise.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Like, one of the best things I've seen is that meme is like, Biden sucks. Vote Biden. And it makes sense. And then underneath they have all the reasons why. It makes perfect sense. Biden sucks. Vote Biden.
Vote Biden.
And that's just where we've come. But you can't get better until you fix that shit.
Yeah, it's like I tell people, America is bleeding to death. America has suffered what could very well be a mortal wound. I really wanted Surgeon Sanders to come in and try to really repair some damage. Now that Surgeon Sanders doesn't appear to be an option, I will take Medic Biden slapping a Band-Aid on the wound in the hopes of slowing the bleeding long enough for a surgeon to show up.
Right on. Well,
so other than that, everybody wear your goddamn masks. Stay away from people as much as you can. I realize, you've got to work and keep your bills paid and stuff like that. God knows what the dickheads in your areas are going to do about kids going to school. But everybody, please, let's try to get this goddamn coronavirus under control. A, first and foremost, so people will quit getting sick and dying, and B, so we can start getting out there and playing music again, and we can all be with our friends and fucking hug people and have dinner and go on dates and see movies and go on tour and, damn it, just to try to get back to some sense of normalcy.
Fuck yeah, brother. Lara Hope says, "Love you, Travis Kilgore," in the comments. Just so you,
God, I love her and Matt so much. Definitely, part of the Kingston crew that will forever have such a fond place in my heart. Got a funny Kingston story for you. Right. The last time we were there, Laura and Matt put us up at their place, and I volunteered to stay in Woodstock to keep an eye on the gear, primarily because I'm an early riser.
Where'd you play? You don't have
the
to
Anchor.
Remember. Oh, okay. You played.
No,
okay.
Yeah, the Anchor is the only place we've played in Kingston so far.
Okay.
But Brandy, love you. God love the Anchor. But Matt and Laura put us up, and I volunteered to stay in Woodstock because somebody had to watch the gear, and I'm an early riser, and I didn't want to be like trying to tiptoe around and not wake people up.
Yeah.
So. True to form, I had gotten up first, and I was sitting on a flower planter there on the sidewalk by their apartment, and this great big tall fella come walking down the street, and I'm just sitting there smoking my pipe, enjoying this beautiful morning. And the guy comes walking up to me, and of course, I nod, gregarious dude that I am. And this guy goes, He goes, "How you doing, big man?" I said, "Man, I'm hanging in there like a hair in a biscuit." And he just nods at me and walks around the corner and out of sight. And so help me, like 25, 30 seconds later, this great big dude comes back around the corner and he says, "I just now understood what you said. That shit was funny."
That's awesome.
Well, man, it was great talking to you. Thank you for asking me to be part of this. Hell, anytime you're in a bind for somebody, holler at me.
I forgot to talk about hot fish sandwiches. I really wanted to talk about hot fish sandwiches. God damn it.
Dude, hot fish sandwiches are easy to understand. It's like tilapia or just something real white.
Fish.
Deep fried fish, and when they say hot, it doesn't mean spicy. It means straight out of the goddamn grease.
Okay.
And it's either one gigantic fillet or 2 really big fillets with, lettuce and pickles and tartar sauce and, whatever the hell else you wanted, either on white bread or like a burger bun.
Okay.
And I'm starving to death just thinking about it.
The picture I saw had hot sauce and mustard on it. Like, people were putting mustard on fish sandwiches? Because that's weird to me up here.
I don't know that I've done that, but...
Well, Husky said, too, I want nothing but hot sauce and mustard, and that seems crazy to me, man.
Dude, the next time I get a hot fish sandwich, I'm going to try it that way just because Husky recommends it, and I bet it's badass.
I love that dude, man. But, yeah, I don't know.
Oh, Husky's my fucking homeboy, man.
Yeah, me too. And so are
I'm going
you.
to fuck around and start a metal band with that guy.
Dude, I just got a double bass pedal. Let me in. I just got a double bass pedal, and I know how to record and send tracks to people. So, keep me in mind.
Oh, shit, man. We might have to look at a long-distance quarantine metal project.
Let's do it, dude. With you two? Holy shit. I would love that fucking... fuck yes.
I've actually got a fantasy metal band. It's halfway a joke, but
it was the one time where you posted about that, and I was like, Sky Page, who's also 45, was like, I'll be a guitar player. So like you being Sky Page, I don't know that she's a thrash metal guitar player per se. I love her to pieces. But
Sky's a sweet. I met her in Clarksdale, as a matter of fact. But yeah, the project is called Slaghammer, and that tells you everything you need to know about.
Good.
Man, what are you doing tonight, dude? I'm going to the Anchor. Who's playing? Slaghammer.
Yeah.
You know it's a goddamn metal band. You've even got a pretty good idea of what they sound like.
Yeah. Good grief. Yeah, I'm into it.
All right, well, look, man, I'm caffeinated, and I'll talk all goddamn night, so I'm going to get out of here so you can get on with your next guest. Man, thank you so much.
All right,
I love
Travis.
you. I miss you. I love and miss all my friends there in Kingston. Everybody, please be safe. Vote that orange son of a bitch out, and let's try to get back to a normal life.
All right, Travis. Love you, bud.
All right, love you too, man.
Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
All right, that was Travis from Mark Porkchop Holder and MPH. Also some other bands, the Scarlett Love Conspiracy. It's a good dude. We got Jarrod from Carrie Nation coming up next. He's one of my fucking favorites. So we're gonna play a song by his band now, but I'm gonna pee first. So let's get to that. My whole idea all day was like, don't get too drunk before you get to Jarrod. We'll see if that works or not. I don't know. Who only time can tell, right, motherfuckers? 50 beers, Tuesday afternoon. Hey, what's up, everybody? I actually cut that Carrie Nation song short because I got a notification from Facebook that my live stream would be cut short if I kept using copywritten music. I think there's something when you use certain DistroKid shit where they comb YouTube or Facebook for your songs being used, and it gets dicey with that. But here we go. We've had a good show so far. I fucking enjoyed this thoroughly. Now we're going to call this fucking dude, Jarrod, who I love thoroughly. I'm not sure. And I'm booze, too, so it's going to be great. It's going to be great. Thank you guys for watching or listening after the fact if you want. He's not going to answer the fucker.
Hey, bud.
Hey, what's up, dude?
How are you?
Good. You hear me all right?
Yeah, I can hear you all right.
Cool. I just had to. Your song was playing. Okay. I'm a little drunk. So my problem with your songs is that I was trying to pick one to piss to, and they're all either 2 minutes or 6 minutes.
Yeah.
You don't have a lot of good like run upstairs and piss length songs.
No, yeah.
But then I just got a message that was like, "We're gonna shut down your live stream if you keep playing the song." Pretty much.
Oh yeah, my lawyers are gonna come after you.
I think it's like, do you put your shit up online through DistroKid?
No, we've never done DistroKid.
Okay, because I think I did last time with the Red Necromancer stuff, and I think there's something you can click, and it's like they would comb YouTube or whatever for infringements.
Oh really?
I don't know. Maybe that's not. I don't know. Or maybe I just made that shit up. Who knows? How you doing?
Not bad, man. How you been?
I'm pretty good. You're not in. You're in Kansas City, Missouri.
Correct.
And what's up with that, man? How you been living since this shit happened?
It's good. I've been up in Kansas City for about 5 years.
Okay, so you live there, and the rest of the band is in Wichita, or like you guys are all spread all over the place?
Right now, most of the band's in Wichita. I live in KC. Grub's over in Lawrence.
Gotcha.
Lawrence is about 30, 40 minutes away from KC.
So how's it been going for you, man, through this lunacy?
Well, honestly, I mean, not terrible. I've still broke.
Yeah, I mean, still, but yeah, it's not no more or less than usual.
Yeah, not bad. It was good to get a little break, but
Yeah.
I've been painting houses recently. I got to do a lot more in the garden this year.
Yeah, you were mentioning that the other day. You're growing a bunch of your own shit, right?
Yeah, I'm growing a bunch of food and medicine shit, whatever.
How's that going? What are you growing?
Oh, bunch of stuff. Squashes, beans, tomatoes, watermelons, bunch of herbs and
How do you
greens and stuff.
How do you like control like your growing versus like what you're gonna eat before it goes bad, or do you like have a good community to give it away to? Like, because it seems like that almost might be the hardest part of that.
It kind of is, man. It's weird. It's like, you put a bunch of stuff in the ground and that's great until it all like goes fucking nutso on you and you got like 4 giant zucchini sitting here that you like, you got to make pickles out of, or you got to like just eat zucchini all week,
And how's that? Yeah,
But,
you just figure it out.
Well, I've been canning a bunch of stuff this year.
Fuck yeah.
Trying to dry out like dehydrate herbs to stick around. I'm trying to fucking let a bunch of stuff go all the way to seed to keep seed. And
yeah, right on. Where were you guys? Did you guys have big plans this summer before this shit all happened?
Kind of, not really this summer, but like honestly, like fucking April. We haven't been out to the West Coast in 3 4 years. Shit, maybe longer than that. I don't know. But we were supposed to go out there in April, and that all fell through. So it's kind of a bummer. Everybody was pretty stoked about that. Dow's from out west, so he's pretty stoked to get back out there.
Did he grow up in Alaska or some shit? Like,
yeah, he grew up in like Alaska and Oregon, and then Bryce, our drummer, has been living in LA for a few years.
Nice. Why are you guys so good?
So good at what?
Music. Why are you guys the best band? I don't know. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I'd like to argue with the premise of that question.
So, what's up with NASCAR? Have you always been a NASCAR fan? Because you told me when I was messaging you about the show, you were like, "Don't call me during my race," and I was like, "What are you talking about? Are you running?" Because we have a bunch of people here that are runners, like half marathons and shit. I'm like, "Is this?"
Yeah, I run marathons in my spare time.
You're a NASCAR dude, and has that always been a thing?
I don't know. It's really fucking, I don't know, 8 or 9 years now. Okay. I used to talk so much shit on NASCAR.
Whatever. Yeah.
Like it was like everybody does, but like I lived in Wichita. I moved into this house with Zach, my brother, our old drummer. You know Zach.
Okay, he's your brother.
Yeah.
Okay. Right on.
You didn't know that?
I don't know if I do.
Huh. But we lived there, and our neighbors had cable. We didn't. So like, I'd go over there to watch the Chiefs games, Kansas City Chiefs games, and they were like huge NASCAR fans. So they'd always like in the
commercials be switching it to the fucking NASCAR race.
Oh, but they would watch
and I'd be like,
the Chiefs before. Yeah, okay.
yeah, and they'd be going on at the same time a lot of times, you know. So I'd be like,
Yeah.
God damn, like fucking like commercials are over. Let's turn it back to the fucking Chiefs game. But they've been watching like, and they try to get me excited about it, explaining all the little nuances of the teams and the rivalries and the races and all the math and all the strategy and statistics and stuff. And I don't know, man, they did a good job talking me into it because
clock
I got
on
hooked.
and shit, huh?
I got hooked.
And now it's like, what's the season run? It's like April. No, it was. I don't know. I have no fucking idea what I'm saying. What
Dude, I don't know the exact dates, but it's a really long season.
Okay.
Like they run, like it's a lot shorter that they don't have NASCAR than they do have NASCAR.
Okay, right on. Kind of like baseball, almost, right?
Yeah, I don't know. Some people think they're equally boring.
Who's your dude? Who's your like go-to guy?
Clint Boyer's from Emporia, Kansas.
Okay.
He's the.
And is he good?
He's the. I mean, he's been he's raced for a long time.
Yeah.
He's raced in like top level NASCAR for a long time. He's a great race driver. But like there's so many young kids now that
coming out of Kansas driving.
Well, I don't know about coming out of Kansas, but like Clint Boyer's set up to be an announcer here pretty soon or something like that. You know what I mean? He's gonna be.
I just watched that Jordan shit. What is it called? The Last Dance. Have you seen that?
I know what you're talking about, but no, I haven't.
It was kind of like a very, I don't know, it was interesting. I don't know. Are you a basketball fan at all?
Not really.
I'm not really either. And it kind of made, I don't know, it's like it humanized him in a weird fucking way. It humanized him in the way that he's not human. You know what I'm saying? Like,
sure.
Like, you don't want my life. You don't want to be like me. Like, I've become the epitome of everything everyone wants. But the road to getting that way is like something that's certainly undesirable,
Yeah, dude, he killed it in fucking Space Jam, though.
Yeah, exactly. Well, they have that in the fucking thing, like fucking Rodman and all that. They have them as parts of it, so it's like, it's his life has been fucking ridiculous, very strange and fucking weird.
I would watch a documentary about Dennis Rodman's life.
Yeah, I mean, honestly,
he had a crazy life. I do know a little bit about his biography. He had some fucking.
Wasn't there a documentary
story.
or something? I remember seeing something about him growing up with like a white like he grew up with a white couple, I believe, raising him. No.
And like he didn't play basketball in high school and like had a super late growth spurt. And like grew like a whole foot in a year or something like that.
Yeah, I remember seeing a documentary about that, but I can't remember where or how. Like, I almost feel it was like on NBC or some shit like that. Like, like it was like really poorly made, and ended with him. Like there was a weird him. Was it him with they just like sitting there with a fucking rifle in his mouth in the fucking seat of his car, and the fucking stadium security found him. And like,
fuck, I don't know about that.
I think there was something like that. Like he had some like insane breakdown where they just, maybe not in his mouth, but they found him with a rifle and it just sitting in front of his truck in whatever stadium his team played in with a fucking rifle. And they were like, Mr. Rodman, like, kind of talked him down, and like he went and got some help or whatever. But
damn,
yeah, that's some serious
go
shit.
Bulls.
Yeah, go Bulls, yeah. But I mean, he was this fucking savage, rebounder, just doing his fucking job. I don't know. I don't know.
Right.
The Bulls documentary was interesting in that respect. Like everyone's doing their fucking job, and then you have this one dude that's just like on another level. But
and like Dennis Rodman, I think had already won an NBA championship with the Pistons, right before.
I'm
he was even on
not
the
sure if he did. I think, he might have. His last year was him and Lambeer. Imagine that. Like, that's cool basketball to me. It's like him and Lambeer just swatting motherfuckers in the mouth anytime they come near the fucking, the lane.
Like, have you listened to that podcast, I think it's called Hall of Shame. Wall of Shame, maybe?
No.
It's all like sports like scandals and weird stories and shit.
Yeah, right on. I like that.
That's pretty cool. I think I listened to it. That's where I got that Dennis Rodman scoop.
Okay, right on. What about Christian Okoye? Was that like how old are you? You're a little bit younger than me, right?
I'm 34.
So Christian Okoye, was that before your time? Because I remember him.
No, I remember that growing up.
Yeah, Tecmo Bowl. He was fucking dude, man.
Houston or where was he at?
What's that? Christian Okoye. He was the running back for the Chiefs, man. He was like the Nigerian nightmare.
Okay, when I was a kid, I was not a Chiefs fan because I didn't grow up in Kansas.
Oh, where'd you grow up?
Well, I mean, I grew up, we moved all over the place, but I was a Niners fan when I was a kid.
Oh, Joe Montana?
Yeah.
Fuck. All right.
And I was, like, even when I moved to Kansas, like, kind of talk shit on Chiefs.
Mm.
But then, like, I moved all over the place, and then I went to school down in Florida and came back, and, like, the Chiefs sucked so fucking bad. But all my friends were, like nuts about the fucking Chiefs, man. Like,
yeah.
They were like, they just loved it, and they like freaked the fuck out every weekend. Every weekend was just like disaster, and I was like, I can get on board with that. Fucking underdog football watching.
It's kind
I
of
stopped
the
watching
beauty
football anyways.
It's the beauty of football. It's like every Sunday, like you can make like a fuck religion. You can have your friends over and make some fucking chili. And get mad or happy about something depending on what happens. Like is kind of a cool way to do shit. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it was just like going over there and getting drunk and smoking on Sundays, and then but just seeing these fools be so stoked about the goddamn Chiefs when they suck so bad, bad.
You have to. I don't think you can do it. The whole thing doesn't work. It's almost like God to an extent, like a religion. It's like the whole thing falls apart if you're just like, let's get a bunch of your friends over. I'm going to make a bunch of food, and we're not going to give a shit about who wins. It doesn't hold the same weight as if you if you have like, oh, we're just going to come over. I'm going to make all this shit. We're going to get drunk as shit, but we're going to really care about this team or that team. Like, I think it's what really
and it's
holds
like religion. It's a lot of like lying to yourself, like putting logic aside.
Exactly. Yeah.
This is our year, man. This is really our year. Like,
it is. But unlike religion, somebody eventually wins each year.
Right. Somebody, I guess.
Not to get crazy with that or whatever. But yeah, I was a big New York Giants fan for a while. And it's like, most of these people, like, these are millionaire athletes that I wouldn't be able to talk to for fucking 5 minutes. They're probably... Maybe some of them are really nice people, some of them are terrible. They're like everything else, but I got very caught up in their behavior on the field. Like, oh, come on, man.
Yeah, I mean, the NFL sucks. Football sucks. Like, in general, it's shitty, but like, it's kind of tough not to, especially moving up here, because I lived in Wichita a lot longer, and I lived up like around Wichita a lot of years, but moving up here to Kansas City, this is the first town I'd ever lived in that has like a professional team of any sort.
Gotcha.
Like when I was young, we moved around a lot from Nevada to New Mexico to Kansas and Michigan and Georgia and Florida and shit. But moving up here to Kansas City and seeing on Fridays and Saturdays and like even like when Royals were killing it, just like seeing the whole city like go fucking nuts, like go like be on the same page, like
they're still at Kauffman Stadium,
like,
right?
Weird solidarity. Yeah.
The first time.
Wait, I didn't know this. I didn't realize this was a sports podcast.
I don't know. I mean, it's kind of a I get drunk and talk about whatever the fuck happens podcast. I remember the first.
Yeah, I forgot to ask if I was supposed to drink 15 beers or you drink 15 beers. I forgot to ask.
Well, did you drink 15 beers?
I was trying. I'm on my way. I mean, a bunch of hams I've gone through, but
fuck yeah, hams, huh?
Then I didn't know if I was supposed to drink the 15 beers before we started or like while we did it, or.
It was basically like when all this happened, I was like, my dog walking business started like drying up, and I was like, if I'm gonna descend into madness, I might as well document it. And I started doing this. And then
Oh man, because that sucks so bad. I never thought about that. Because the last two times we were in town up there staying with you, like you were walking dogs, and like making your routes and like mapping your routes and drawing little pictures with your routes.
Yeah. No, things were all great, but then
yeah,
everyone's home.
And then like I never thought about like everybody's like stuck at home, so like the only like bit of rest that they get from the fucking house is walking their dogs.
Yeah.
So like, oh man.
But
so
then
your work dried up just like mine did.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be terrible. But then everyone started getting unemployment checks, and a bunch of the walks I do are people that want me to walk their dogs for an hour, and they don't want to walk their dogs for an hour. And then I started delivering for the anchor, so then I started working more than I actually have before. Like I'm busier now. I'm busier now than I was before, which is fucking weird. I don't know.
Yeah, it's been cool to see how innovative and resourceful the anchor's been. Like fucking.
Yeah, no, Brandy was smart.
Getting work done.
Right off the bat, it was like, we're doing this, and it's been nice. Like obviously I didn't work there before this, really,
right?
But she was just like, we're not going back to seating in until we know it's safe. So it was just like,
she's rad, man.
Yeah, it was very forward thinking, and I think in a way she wasn't like rather than it's just interesting to see it like rather than here's being scared of what you should do. She just was forceful and like forward thinking. And I think it like really helped me as an employee or anybody as an employee and people as customers. Just like, okay, this is what it is now, like.
Yeah, tell her I said hi. Tell her Laura and Matt I said hi, and Mal and everybody.
Yeah, dude. So what's up with music now? Have you been writing? What do you do? Like, how do you scratch that itch while you're off of this shit?
Man, Grub was out in the woods, so like we went out and camped with him for a little bit, played a little bit, fuck with some new shit. I'll be honest, I set my guitar up on the wall for quite a bit. It was after going like, we book ourselves and everything, and I'm pretty much responsible for all of that. So like, after so many years of like doing the booking and the management, like tour management and everything, and
so it's nice for you to kind of take a break, and not have to fucking.
Yeah, man. Like if you weren't on tour, you're like feel guilty about not thinking about the next tour.
No, Lara is like, a giant weight has been off her shoulders this whole fucking time, and she's out gardening and fucking happier than I've ever seen her because she's not like, fuck, the fact that I'm enjoying myself for a second means that I'm not doing something to make my career the way I want it to be or whatever, It's
exactly. She works her ass off, dude.
Yeah, I mean, you too. I mean, it's same. It's like to do it as to fucking go out there and book European tours and multinational tours or make enough money to pay drummers or trombone players or whoever the fuck. It's very hard to do. It's hard, right? I mean, it's not easy.
Yeah, I mean, it's not necessarily hard. It just takes work like everything else, But it takes the goddamn work, and it's nice to have a little break. 'Cause you never get a fucking Friday or Saturday off.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you're doing your job well, like it's not. So, what have you been doing in your time? Like, what's your day like?
I've been like I said, doing a lot of shit in the garden. It takes a lot of work, but recently I got a buddy who paints houses. He's tossing me some work. I getting this old Ford van running and
fuck yeah,
fixed up a bit.
You reading any books? What do you?
Yeah, I'm reading a few books actually.
What do you got?
I'm really bad about finishing shit. I like the idea of getting into a book and then I start another book and then so I got a bunch of books that have bookmarks in them.
Yeah.
Basically.
It's funny because I feel like song-wise, I'm like, if I wrote a song and someone stopped halfway through, I blame me and not them. But you were kind of blaming yourself for not finishing. You know what I'm saying? So it's like maybe the book's
Right.
not that good. Like I don't know. Don't be so hard on yourself.
I'm reading this permaculture book called Gaia's Garden. It's a pretty famous book. I've never read it. Pretty cool going through that.
Okay.
And then I'm reading this other book called What's the Matter with Kansas? It's basically kind of a political book, but it's basically just talking about poor people in the Midwest selling away, like voting against their best interest.
Yeah. Okay.
And how it was a kind of a methodical goal, like a goal-oriented, but
Yeah. I mean, but
by the right to get working class people back voting for them,
because Kansas has always been like, and I mean, and like from people in New York, I think maybe think of Kansas and use that as like a punchline or whatever, like it was not like Kansas or whatever. But Kansas has always been a progressive, like kind of ahead, like John Brown Hill kind of shit. Like Kansas has been kind of an important, like pivotal place in the country politically forever. No.
Yeah, I mean, well, not forever, but like absolutely was started that way, and bloody Kansas was all about popular sovereignty at the time, and Kansas becoming a new territory and voting whether it will be a slave state or not, and the whole battle between Missouri and Kansas between.
And that was like Kansas was like, we're not going to become a slave state, and Missouri was like, yes. Is that?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And the people in Missouri like saw the like gradual, like more and more states going west being it could be a slippery slope.
Yeah.
For that.
And then you have who was like your governor, right? Was that Brownback?
Oh, recently, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was even before that. Like, where did it? Like, how did?
Oh yeah, man. Before that, like Wichita, where we're from, like that's where Dr. Tiller was shot, where he practiced. So there's this weird like microcosm of the Christian conservative movement of that cool Jesus in the 90s and shit. In Wichita, and like some mega church types, and like that's where the Koch brothers are from. So there's this weird like
and the Walton
blurred line
so
between
like
politics and religion.
Yeah, you have very rich families from there, right? Like with the Walmart.
Yeah, it's weird. So but it was just even before that, not just Kansas, but like how could a place like Kansas turn into basically the opposite of what everybody was proud of what it stood for.
Yeah,
before.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I think partially like you as a musician are there to like fucking remind people of what, like, maybe it's pissing in the wind. I don't know. It would seem like to me, but I mean that in the best way ever. What I'm saying? Like,
sorry, I didn't hear you.
Like, as a musician, like you're there to like fucking remind people of like the reason why this place was great before. No.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we consider ourselves a Kansas band.
Yeah.
Everybody in the band is kind of from a different place, but like.
But your songs are like very pro labor, pro working class.
Sure.
Like, yeah.
And it's an old idea of Kansas. I don't think anybody else in the country would think of that stuff, associate that stuff with Kansas, like necessarily currently.
But that's good, for people in Kansas to hear it, and for people in the rest of the world to hear it. I don't know.
Right.
I don't know. I think it's like a crazy struggle that we go through right now, because not only are the working class like at such a disadvantageous position right now because the wealth is so extremely at a different point. Like the wealth is so concentrated. But with technology now, like a lot of things are being replaced. So it's like not only like, we should just all strike. Well, now we have robots that can do what you want to fucking do. You know, it's like I don't know, it's a difficult time in history, I think.
Yeah, there's a lot of industries just hoping, wishing everybody would strike and they could just get replaced with robots.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's fucking scary as shit, man. You know.
Robot scabs, man.
Yeah. And that's where I don't know, but at the same time, money doesn't fucking mean anything. So it's like, oh, I can't eat. Like literally, I don't know how many Blackwater mercenaries you have to keep 1,000 people from coming to your house and fucking eating you. Like there's, I don't know. I don't fucking know, Jarrod.
I don't know either, Kevin. Did you get to your 15 beers?
I don't know. Why are you trying to get rid of me?
No, I thought it was a race.
I'm on 14 right now. It's not a race. It's certainly not a race.
Damn, you lapped me for sure.
It's not a race. What else? You were Bucket City booking agent. What was that like? How's it trying to like sell other bands? Did that teach you something about selling your own band?
Oh, jeez, I don't know. I wasn't very good at it, man.
No?
I don't think Bucket City exists anymore.
Yeah. I saw that it was still on your Facebook profile, but
is it?
Whatever. I'm not trying to give you a hard time. But you did like Ford Theater Reunion, who are in a killer band.
Yeah, man, that's like one of my very favorite bands.
And you're trying to sell them to other people. Did you, like learn something about selling yourself to other people through that?
Well, I learned that band was too loud for a bunch of my contacts. I don't know. I just trying to book bands and trying to book like long tours like they deserve and they should have. It not my not an occupation I'm going to jump back into.
Yeah, you're not really feeling it.
Like not with it's just weird.
Have you ever seen a ghost?
What's up?
Have you ever seen a ghost?
That band Ghost?
No, a ghost. A supernatural. I mean,
no, I've never.
Have you ever seen the band Ghost?
No. No.
Would you ever wear corpse paint?
We wore corpse paint for our Halloween show this year.
Oh shit! Where was that?
Oh wait, I don't know. I take that back. It was like fucking. Yeah, it was kind of corpse paint. In Wichita, we always do a Halloween show in Wichita. There, we did it Barleycorns this year.
Okay, right on. So you've never seen a ghost, though? You've never been haunted by a spirit?
No, I've never been painted by a spirit.
What do you say, painted? No, I said haunted.
Painted.
All right. What's your favorite fish sandwich you've ever had? Apparently,
it has to be like fish, not just seafood. It has to be fish specifically.
No, not necessarily. It could be seafood. Basically, I saw Travis, who was my previous guest. Him and Husky Burnett are talking about this Chattanooga hot fish sandwich, and it's just like fucking fried tilapia on a piece of white bread with mustard and hot sauce on it, and they think it's fucking amazing, and it probably is. But I just want to know. I think my favorite fish sandwich was halibut fucking sandwich in Seward, Alaska. And you've also been to Alaska.
I would definitely pick the fucking halibut in Alaska over the tilapia and chatty, but
yeah, but who knows, man? Maybe
but a good fry on a cheap fish.
Yeah,
I'm in.
Yeah.
Like, I don't give a fuck how fancy the fish is. You can fry it right. Put it in the sandwich. I'm good.
So you don't have a favorite. You want it done right. You have it in your travels.
You said best. You said
in
best,
all your travels.
You've
been to Europe, man. You guys go to Europe all the time, right?
A couple times, but I don't know. I'm gonna go with the KT Quick Trip in Wisconsin.
Yeah. The what? The gas station fish?
The gas station. Yeah.
You're gonna go with the Wisconsin gas station fish.
You've been to the KTs in Wisconsin, right?
I've been. I would be shocked if I haven't. Like, is that like the quick check kind of thing in Wisconsin?
It's like the nice one of the area, like
nice,
Wisconsin,
yeah.
Minnesota, and Iowa. It's like the Sheetz or the Wawa.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah.
Of that region, but it's vastly superior. Like it's far superior to Wawa or Sheetz.
Wow. Okay. I'm listening. There's no reason for me to be out there anytime soon. It used to suck. It does suck right now because it used to be that anything you would say, like, oh yeah, I could book a tour and be out there next. Like you would be anywhere within a reasonable amount of time, and now we're just never going to be anywhere.
Right.
Yeah. But
the KT fish sandwiches are $1 on Fridays.
Okay.
I think because of the Lutherans.
Yes, yeah, oh yeah. Well, fucking all of Wisconsin has that Friday fish fry, right? Shit going.
Oh
on.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Friday fish fries.
I've never been.
I miss Wisconsin.
Yeah. You guys, the first time I heard of you fuckers was when Tiger Piss toured with SS Webb, and both Henry, fucking Chris, and what was the bass player's name? Fuck. Whatever. There were days where all three of them were wearing Carrie Nation t-shirts. And
really?
How good could this band possibly be that this band is literally all wearing different t-shirts of theirs? And then I heard you, and you're obviously that good.
Yeah, we used to pay a lot of other bands to wear our shirts.
Do that shit? Is that it was all a hoax?
That's why we were so broke for so long. Like it was a marketing kind of thing.
Yeah, okay. Well,
paid all these other bands to wear our shirts.
It worked, and it got you on this podcast, pal.
Oh man, I'm fucking so glad we made that decision.
Boom! It was worth it. So yeah, you're there. Really, no favorite fish sandwich, no spiritual, whatever. What's your favorite Metallica?
I would like to talk about Quick Trip some more, though.
Quick check? Okay, yeah, let's go.
There's a lot of people that talk about fucking Wawa and the goddamn sheets and shit.
Yeah.
That have never been to the Midwest.
Gotcha.
And I saw goddamn Wawas in Florida now.
Oh Jesus! The Wawas are spreading.
Yeah, I mean, people move from the north down to Florida, and you got to have their northern shit down there. But I just want to put it in the record that Quick Trip is the superior gas station.
Quick Trip
in the country.
Okay. Yeah. I don't.
Yeah,
I don't have a dog in a fight necessarily. I do like Sheetz. I do like Wawa, but I don't have a dog in a fight. So.
What about those Stewart shops?
I like them, but they are different to an extent. They don't have a deli where they'll like make you a sandwich. Like I think
either does Quick Trip though.
Yeah. Okay. Well, like Stewart's
Quick Trip just has amazing, awesome hotspot food and great goddamn pizzas and the nicest old ladies working there, and everybody's like super happy to sell you shrimp at a gas station.
That should be a song. Super happy to sell you shrimp at a gas station is fucking perfect. Stewart's, their pre-made food is fucking trash. Like, if you get it from the heated thing, their cheeseburgers or their chicken sandwiches or their chicken tenders, it's fucking garbage.
I'll tell you, Kevin.
Yeah.
When as a band, when we stop at Stewart's, it's all about the goddamn meatballs.
Okay, the meatballs are not the worst. Oh, okay, fair enough. The meatballs are okay. The mac and cheese, if you really like fucking Dirt Dog mac and cheese, is okay. But that's it, man. Like, their hot dogs might be all right, but like their cheeseburgers, eat one of those fucking cheeseburgers, you come at me and tell me that place is good.
What about the ice cream though?
The ice cream is fucking great. They crush it with the ice cream. So
like, what more do you need than fucking meatballs and ice cream? You're being like way too picky,
dude. You just fucking turn. Well, come on, man. Other places Oh man, some dude just said Stewart's rib sandwich, and I have eaten a bunch of those, and they are not the worst. Fuck, dude, this just got all turned around on me. I didn't mean it for it to go like this. Their ice cream is amazing. If you say to me right now, rib sandwiches, meatballs, and ice cream, that's all you need for a place to be good. Stewart's is fucking great, exceptional.
Stewart's is great, but the difference between Stewart's and KT in the Midwest is like when you'll never walk into a Stewart's and there's just some like super smiley old lady trying to give you donuts or muffins. Like they always got like samples. They got samples like almost always at the fucking Quick Trips, man. It's the best gas station in America.
Oh Jesus! I mean, have you been to Buc-ee's in Texas?
I
That's
have.
all fucked up too. That like people get into that more than they should probably, but
that's a gas station themed shopping mall.
They have bathrooms though where it's like you get your own fucking room, and I kind of like that.
Yeah, I have nothing against Buc-ee's. It's great, but it's a little overpriced. Like KT is like Midwestern as fuck.
Yeah.
It's got a like rewards program. Like every 15th visit is like a free cheeseburger or chicken sandwich or whatever you pick. Like they're like, see you next time. Any fuel out there? Like they're super happy people. I don't know.
Yeah.
I like the KT.
And you do a lot of that like straight up and down shit, right? Like you go up to Canada and back down to, right? Does that make sense? What I'm trying to say?
We don't go to Canada.
Or you go up to Wisconsin and then back down.
Yeah, the Canadians don't want Dow there.
Oh yeah, what do you do?
That's a long story. You should have him on.
You don't have to tell me. Yeah, it's fine.
You should have him on to tell you the story. But it was from when he was in Flask.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, we go up to Wisconsin at least twice a year, usually like 3 or 4 times a year.
Yeah. Right.
It's just great, man. They got the best sausage, the best fucking cheese, a lot of goddamn beer.
Yeah. Are you guys working on a new album now? What are you doing?
Yeah, we are actually. It's all tracked and everything. It was tracked, before we couldn't tour.
Shit happened. What's your process look like? Like, how do you go about it?
Like overall, I write the songs, bring them to the band, take their swings at the parts they want to add. But we got a buddy in Kansas City, Johnny, Dead Horse Sound Company.
Okay.
That recorded everything, and we're mixing it with him right now.
Nice.
Just kind of not in a super hurry to release it. Just kind of, I don't know.
It's kind of a weird time to like, if you can't support it, why do it? Or I feel like it's both one or two ways. Like if you can't support it, why put it out? Or everyone's sitting at home looking for content, let's put it out. Those are
exactly two. Like it's a weird decision to make, and I think we're just avoiding that by not making a decision.
Yeah. I mean, you guys are like a fucking band that just live is such a force of nature that for some bands it's like you're not going to sell any more playing shows than you would if you just put out a couple cool videos. For you guys, it's like you're going to sell more by fucking doing shows, in my opinion, but
and I mean, we haven't done any like the live stuff or anything for sure, but we did this fundraiser show that like the capacity was limited and everything. But our buddy like that filmed it like got in an accident, and so we had to push the date back on that. But we haven't been doing any live stuff. We just did like a concert filming kind of hour-long video that we're going to release soon. But
oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it should look really good. I've listened to it and it sounds really good, and just the video is going to be available pretty soon. And we did that as a fundraiser, like an auction kind of fundraiser. We auctioned tickets off, and we're actually able to like raise $1,200 for different like bail funds and.
Oh fuck yeah, nice. That's great.
Yeah, but yeah, we get that album coming, and we're always meeting up every once in a while out at Grub lives out in the fucking woods now, so we all kind of.
Where's Sway? Where's he?
What's up?
Where's Josue?
Josue's in Wichita.
Okay.
He plays in a bunch of bands, so he's working in Wichita. Gets to work with all different kinds of bands and stuff that can kind of write and put stuff together without.
Yeah, gotcha.
Without, but he's been doing some pretty cool like coffee shop gigs and like cool local shit.
The picture you sent me, Bryce is just staring at you with a look of disbelief behind you.
He's probably thinking like, this motherfucker has no time.
I think
he's Russian.
He's Russian, yeah. Boom, roasted. I miss you so much. I do.
Oh man, I miss you guys too. I was just telling Brittany about how much fun we used to have always coming up to Kingston and being able to hang out. Yeah.
Why doesn't she ever come hang out?
In New York?
Yeah, I don't know. Come on vacation, man. Come hang out with us, man.
Oh yeah.
We'll go on wine and cheese tours. We'll show you the local swimming spots. It'll be good.
I did go to a pretty rad cheese shop in New Paltz.
I bet you did.
They got some pretty awesome cheeses.
Yeah,
there's a lot of fucking dairy spots in New York upstate.
It's not. We're almost parallel. Most of upstate New York is parallel to Wisconsin. So Vermont, it's like that dairy belt that goes across, I think, most of the country. But
yeah, that's kind of our thing. It's just that friggin' Minnesota, Wisconsin, New York, Vermont.
Dude, come hang. Let's fucking.
Dude, I hope sooner rather than later.
I love the shit out of you. You're one of my all-time favorites. Your band is too good to believe, but it's
fuck with that. I appreciate it, dude. I appreciate fucking you putting us up so often, and like the goddamn times we've been able to play with you and Mal, being able to just fucking.
I don't know about NASCAR, but Christian Okoye, the Chiefs. Fucking, let's go, George Brett. I mean,
George Brett, fucking Royals.
Goose Gossage was kind of. When I was a kid, the only way for me to stay up past 8 o'clock was to watch the Yankees with my grandma.
Right.
And she loved Goose Gossage, and she was always like, Goose, when he would strike people out. She'd be my grandma kind of like, it was almost like, what is this woman doing? Goose. But then that George Brett Goose guy, when he came at Goose Gossage with that fucking pine tar thing, like, fuck you.
Dude, some of those fools become like regional royalty, man.
Yeah, it's fucking
like Tom Brady's shit ass up a little north of y'all.
Deflate gate, motherfucker, man. Get the fuck out of here. All right. I'm drunk as shit. I'm sorry.
Did you got through the 15th?
2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13, 14. This is I'm on my 15 right now. Do you want to finish a beer together? Is that what we should do?
Yeah. I'll slam a beer with you. Here, I got a brand new one.
I'm almost done, but. Yeah.
But dude, I'm impressed with the podcast. Like, that's a marathon, dude. Like you're
No, it's garbage. It's absolute, complete garbage, and I'm a shit person.
No, I've listened to a couple episodes. It's fun. Like
Right.
you know, granted, I'm a little biased. It's like all my friends.
Yeah.
You know, and shit. Like, but
you know, my favorite thing about you is that you're fucking cool as shit, and I'm happy to be talking to you. I'm full of love, Jarrod.
Well put, man.
I'm fucking full of love, dude.
Well, likewise, man. But here, I'm gonna try this beer.
What are you drinking hams? You drinking hams?
Wait, I'm drinking hams. What are you drinking?
I'm drinking Natty Lights. It's my go-to.
Oh, not even the ices.
Yeah. No, I can't. If I drink the ices, I'd be shitting my pants before it's over.
I thought you were an ice dude. I thought you always drink the ice beers.
Are you fucking crazy? No, I can't handle that shit. 15 ice beers? What kind of barbarian do you think I am? No, I can't do
What kind of fucking half-ass podcast am I on?
Apparently, all right. We're gonna cut this short right now. Jarrod, I love you.
I just expect you. I expect you to change the name of this podcast to 15 light beers on a Tuesday.
All right, we're gonna just cut this right now. Producer, can we get a fucking?
Keep it. Keep all of it.
No,
keep it.
We're cutting this. We're cutting this off right now. All right.
All right, man. Thanks for having me on, dude. I love you, brother.
Fucking love you too, bud. Have a great night.
See ya.
All right, that was Jarrod from Carrie Nation and Speakeasy giving me a hard time because I am a little bit drunk, kinda, whatever. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Yeah, we'll be back in 2 weeks. Rock on.
$15 beers on a Tuesday afternoon. That sounds about right. That sounds metal as fuck.
15 beers on Tuesday afternoon is a Crazy Rev Kev production.